Hello there, and welcome to Nightfall Science. Tonight, we drift through the quiet evidence that may suggest humanity is alone in the universe. Let your shoulders soften and your eyes grow heavy as the silent stars keep their ancient watch. Let's begin. The first piece of evidence is not an object, a molecule, or a distant signal. It is the absence of a second example. Earth remains the only world known to contain life. Every confirmed organism, from the smallest microbe to the largest animal, belongs to one connected biological history. No cell from Mars has been verified. No organism has been collected from an icy moon. No distant atmosphere has revealed a biosignature strong enough to exclude non-living chemistry. No radio or optical search has received a confirmed signal from extraterrestrial intelligence. The scientific search continues, but the record currently contains one inhabited planet. This does not prove that all other worlds are empty. Absence of evidence can result from limited instruments, enormous distances, or a search that has only recently begun. Yet the absence still matters. It is the quiet fact from which every argument for cosmic loneliness must begin. The universe has offered many promising environments. It has offered water, carbon, energy, planets, moons, and complex chemistry, but it has not yet offered a second confirmed biology. For now, life is not a repeated observation. It is a single known event. A single example creates an unusual scientific problem. Normally, patterns are discovered by comparison. Many stars reveal how stars form and age. Many planets reveal how planetary systems differ. Many galaxies show how gravity shapes structures across cosmic time. Life cannot yet be studied in this way. There is only terrestrial biology. Every living thing examined so far uses carbon chemistry. Every known organism depends upon liquid water at some stage. Every known cell carries inherited information through related molecular systems. These shared features may be universal requirements, or they may simply reflect common ancestry. All life on Earth may descend from an early population that developed one successful chemical solution. Later organisms inherited that solution, modified it, and carried it across nearly every environment on the planet. This means that millions of species do not provide millions of independent origins. They provide one vast family. A forest, a whale, a mushroom, and a bacterium appear profoundly different. At the deepest biochemical level, however, they belong to the same ancient experiment. The difference matters. If life had begun independently several times on Earth, biology might preserve separate molecular systems. One lineage might store information in a different way. Another might construct proteins from a different chemical alphabet. No completely independent second tree of life has been confirmed. Perhaps early competing forms disappeared. Perhaps modern biology absorbed them. Perhaps a second origin never occurred. Earth may have provided oceans, minerals, energy, and immense periods of time. Yet life may still have crossed the boundary from chemistry only once. If that is true, then a planet can be suitable for life without producing it repeatedly. Habitability may be common while origin remains rare. The quietest argument for loneliness is therefore not that other planets lack useful ingredients. It is that the ingredients may not be enough. A world can contain water without containing cells. It can contain organic molecules without containing heredity. It can possess energy without developing metabolism. The difference between a chemical environment and a living system may be far greater than it first appears. Organic molecules are found throughout space. They exist in meteorites, asteroids, comets, planetary atmospheres, and clouds between stars. Carbon naturally forms elaborate structures because of the many ways its atoms can bond. But complexity alone is not life. A living system must maintain a boundary between itself and its surroundings. It must gather energy. It must preserve information. It must reproduce with enough accuracy to continue, but with enough variation to evolve. These requirements must work together. A membrane without metabolism eventually fades. A self-copying molecule without protection may break apart. A chemical reaction that consumes energy but preserves no information cannot evolve through generations. The first living system may therefore have required several processes to meet within the same place and at the same time. Earth achieved this somehow. Science does not yet know exactly how. Laboratory experiments can create many biological ingredients. They can produce amino acids, membrane-like structures, and portions of self-copying chemistry. Yet no experiment has recreated the complete natural path from simple non-living material to an independent cell capable of sustained evolution. The missing step may be ordinary but difficult to observe, or it may be one of the rarest transitions in nature. Until another origin is found, both possibilities remain open. This uncertainty becomes more important when the search moves to distant planets. Astronomers often identify worlds inside a habitable zone. This region around a star may allow liquid water under suitable atmospheric conditions, but the word habitable can sound more certain than it is. A planet within this region may possess no atmosphere. It may have lost its water long ago. Its surface may be covered by ice, dry stone, or a dense layer of gas. It may experience powerful stellar radiation or unstable climate cycles. Even a nearly Earth-sized planet receiving Earth-like starlight may differ greatly from Earth. Venus and Earth provide a nearby example. They are similar in size and formed within the same planetary system, yet their surfaces followed very different histories. A small change in atmosphere, geology, water, or solar energy can reshape an entire world. Habitability is therefore a possibility rather than a verdict. It describes conditions where life might survive if it already exists. It does not show that life begins there. The galaxy may contain an enormous number of planets that approach habitability without ever becoming inhabited. They may possess rain without organisms, oceans without cells, continents without footprints. The discovery of many planets has expanded the number of places worth searching. The abundance of planets provides encouraging possibilities. Yet an abundance of stages does not reveal whether the play has begun on any of them. The silence becomes more noticeable when the possibility of intelligence is considered. Technological civilizations can produce signs that travel far beyond their planets. Radio transmitters release organized electromagnetic energy. Lasers can send concentrated pulses across space. Large engineering projects could change the visible or infrared light of a star system. Human technology already produces some of these signatures. Radio and radar emissions leave Earth. Spacecraft communicate across the solar system. Industrial chemistry changes the atmosphere in measurable ways. If other civilizations developed comparable abilities, some of their activity might eventually become detectable. Yet no confirmed extraterrestrial technological signal has been received. SETI programs have examined stars, broad sections of the sky, and wide ranges of radio frequencies. Optical searches have looked for brief laser pulses. Astronomers have examined unusual stars and infrared sources for possible engineering. Every serious candidate has either gained a natural or human explanation, failed to repeat, or remained too incomplete to establish its origin. The silence has a name. It is often associated with the Fermi paradox. If technologically capable life is widespread, why has no clear evidence appeared? The question is not a proof. It contains assumptions about how often intelligence evolves, how long civilizations survive, whether they communicate, and whether they spread between stars. Any of these assumptions may be wrong. Still, the absence of a confirmed signal places a real limit on what has been observed. The galaxy has not revealed obvious continuous transmitters aimed toward Earth. It has not revealed unmistakable artificial structures surrounding nearby stars. It has not provided a repeating message that independent observatories can verify. The instruments may be listening at the wrong times or frequencies. Other civilizations may use unfamiliar technology. They may remain quiet or exist beyond present sensitivity. But the sky heard so far remains natural. Stars pulse. Magnetic fields release bursts. Gas clouds glow. Human transmitters cross telescope data. Beneath all of this activity, no second technology has yet become certain. Time may deepen the mystery. The universe existed for billions of years before Earth formed. Many stars are older than the Sun. Their planets may have received long spans in which chemistry, biology, and intelligence could develop. If technological civilizations commonly appeared and remained detectable for millions of years, some might have had enough time to spread signs of their existence across large regions. Even without journeys near the speed of light, slow expansion could cover immense distances over cosmic time. Yet the Milky Way does not appear visibly transformed. Its starlight follows familiar natural patterns. Its planets and dust remain governed by ordinary astronomy. No confirmed artifact has been recognized moving between the stars. One explanation is that civilizations do not expand. Another is that they become quiet. Another is that their technology cannot be recognized from Earth. But there is also a simpler possibility. Perhaps technological civilizations almost never arise. Life may begin rarely, Complex cells may be rarer. Multicellular organisms may require stable conditions that few planets maintain. Intelligence may depend upon an unusually long sequence of evolutionary changes. Technology may require still more. An intelligent species must possess or develop methods for manipulating its environment. It may need social learning, precise communication, accessible materials, and a source of concentrated energy. Earth produced only one known civilization capable of radio astronomy. This happened very late in the planet's biological history. For most of Earth's existence, life was microscopic. The planet contained a biosphere, but it produced no detectable radio signals and no machines visible between stars. This suggests that life and technological life are different questions. A galaxy could contain many microorganisms and remain silent, but the argument for cosmic loneliness goes farther. Perhaps even microbial life is uncommon. Earth's early appearance of life is sometimes interpreted as evidence that biology begins easily. Once the planet cooled and liquid water became stable, organisms appeared relatively early in geological history. But this observation contains a selection effect. Intelligent observers can only arise on a planet where life began early enough for evolution to continue before the world became uninhabitable. A civilization will always look back and discover that its own biology started in time. It cannot observe itself from a planet where the origin occurred too late. Earth's early life may therefore show that beginnings are common, or it may show only that observers naturally find themselves on the rare worlds where beginnings happened quickly. One inhabited world cannot distinguish these explanations. The same uncertainty follows every major transition. Simple cells eventually produced complex cells containing specialized internal structures. Some cells later formed multicellular organisms. Nervous systems developed, intelligence expanded, language and technology followed. Each transition occurred on Earth. Science cannot yet determine how probable each one was. If several steps were highly unlikely, then an apparently promising planet might remain simple for billions of years. Another might never become alive at all. The chain does not need many rare links before technological civilizations become extraordinarily scarce. This idea is sometimes described through filters. A filter is a stage that very few worlds successfully pass. It might be the origin of life, the development of complex cells, stable multicellularity, intelligence, or long-lived technology. No observation identifies the filter, but Earth's lonely status leaves room for one. A planet may pass through every environmental requirement and still stop before biology. A biosphere may flourish and never produce thought. Intelligence may emerge and never become visible across space. The universe could contain many unfinished paths, and only one known path reaching the point where it can ask about the others. The strongest evidence for being alone would be a search so complete that almost nowhere remained unexamined. Humanity is far from that search. Most planets have not been directly imaged. Most exoplanet atmospheres remain unknown. Many regions of radio frequency and time have received limited attention. No probe has entered the underground water of Mars, or the oceans beneath Europa and Enceladus. The silence must therefore remain proportional to the search. A person listening to 1 minute of an empty forest cannot conclude that no animals live there. A radio telescope studying one star for a short period cannot conclude that the system contains no technology. The present evidence does not prove cosmic solitude. It simply refuses to provide company. This distinction is the foundation of the entire journey. The argument will not claim that empty data are final proof. It will examine whether the accumulating silence, the difficulty of life's origin, the fragility of habitability, and the long chain toward intelligence might all point in the same direction. Each clue is incomplete. Together they allow a calm possibility. Perhaps Earth is not one ordinary living world among millions. Perhaps it is a rare place where several unlikely conditions remained aligned long enough for chemistry to awaken. Perhaps the galaxy contains countless beautiful planets that never crossed that boundary. Their oceans may reflect the light of their stars. Their clouds may circle quiet continents. Their rain may fall for billions of years upon landscapes no organism ever touches. Such worlds would not be failed Earths. They would be planets following their own natural histories. A lifeless ocean is still an ocean. A silent sky is still a sky. The universe does not require observers in order to remain vast and intricate. Galaxies formed long before anything on Earth could see them. Stars burned without witnesses. Planets moved through ancient darkness without names. If humanity is alone, the universe is not empty. It is filled with matter, light, motion, and quiet worlds. Only awareness may be rare. The first part of the evidence therefore ends where it began. There is one known biosphere. There is one confirmed technological civilization. All searches beyond it remain unanswered. That is not proof, but it is the silence against which every future discovery must appear. And until another living world enters the record, Earth remains not merely the first known example, it remains the only one. A planet can orbit at the right distance and still remain lifeless. The habitable zone is often imagined as a gentle ring around a star. Within this region, temperatures may allow liquid water to remain upon a planet's surface. But distance alone does not create an Earth. A planet also needs an atmosphere capable of holding warmth without trapping too much of it. It needs enough gravity to retain that atmosphere. It may need geological activity to recycle important materials over immense spans of time. Its star must remain stable enough. Its water must avoid disappearing into space or becoming permanently frozen. Its orbit must stay reasonably steady while the entire planetary system changes around it. Each requirement introduces another place where a promising world can quietly diverge. The solar system provides two examples close to Earth. Venus is almost the same size as Earth. It formed from similar material and circles the same star. It may once have contained water. Today, its atmosphere is dominated by carbon dioxide. Thick clouds cover the planet, and the surface remains under intense heat and pressure. Mars followed a different path. Ancient rivers and lakes once crossed its surface. Over time, much of its atmosphere disappeared. The planet became colder and drier, leaving only fragments of its earlier water. Earth rests between them. It has remained wet and temperate across billions of years, even though its climate has changed repeatedly. 3 neighboring rocky planets began with some of the same ingredients. Only one is known to have maintained surface oceans and life over geological time. This contrast suggests that habitability may not be a simple condition a planet either possesses or lacks. It may be a narrow path through a changing history. A world must become suitable. Then it must remain suitable. The second task may be more difficult than the first. Stars do not shine with perfect steadiness. They evolve gradually, changing their brightness over time. Young stars can be especially active. They release ultraviolet radiation, X-rays, charged particles, and powerful eruptions. A planet close to such a star may lose part of its atmosphere. High-energy radiation can break water molecules apart. Lightweight hydrogen can escape into space, leaving the world progressively drier. This matters greatly for planets orbiting red dwarf stars. Red dwarfs are the most common stars in the Milky Way. They are cooler and dimmer than the Sun, so their habitable zones lie much closer to them. A planet in such a zone may complete an orbit in only days or weeks. The closeness provides enough warmth for liquid water, but it also exposes the planet to the star's activity. Young red dwarfs can remain active for long periods, producing frequent flares and intense radiation. Some planets may retain thick atmospheres despite this. Others may lose their air or water before life has time to begin. Astronomers are still learning which outcome is more common. A red dwarf can also influence the rotation of a nearby planet. Its gravity may gradually create tidal locking. One side of the planet then faces the star continuously, while the other remains turned towards space. This arrangement does not necessarily make the planet uninhabitable. A sufficiently thick atmosphere or ocean can move heat from the illuminated side toward the dark side. Winds and currents may prevent either hemisphere from becoming completely extreme, but the climate becomes dependent upon many connected factors. A thin atmosphere may collapse as gases freeze on the night side. A thick atmosphere may distribute heat successfully. Clouds above the bright hemisphere may reflect enough energy to keep the surface moderate. Small differences can produce very different worlds. The same star may therefore host several rocky planets, each receiving similar radiation, while only one preserves suitable conditions. Planetary abundance does not guarantee planetary stability. The atmosphere is one of the most delicate parts of a habitable world. It must be thick enough to protect the surface and move heat. It must not become so thick that warming grows without limit. Its gases must remain in useful proportions despite volcanic eruptions, chemical reactions, sunlight, oceans, and biological activity. Earth's atmosphere is not a permanent object resting above the planet. It is a continuously changing system. Volcanoes release gases from the interior. Rain removes carbon dioxide from the air. Rivers carry dissolved material toward the oceans. Carbon becomes stored in sediments and rock. Over long periods, plate tectonics may return some of that carbon to the atmosphere through volcanic activity. This broad process contributes to the carbon silicate cycle. When Earth becomes warmer, rainfall and chemical weathering can increase. More carbon dioxide is removed from the atmosphere, reducing warming over immense spans of time. When the planet becomes cooler, weathering slows. Volcanic activity can gradually rebuild atmospheric carbon dioxide, restoring warmth. The cycle acts like a slow planetary adjustment. It does not prevent ice ages or warm periods. It operates over millions of years rather than seasons. But it may help keep Earth within a range where oceans remain liquid. Whether similar cycles operate commonly on other rocky planets is unknown. Plate tectonics has not been confirmed as a universal requirement for life. A planet without moving plates might still recycle carbon through other forms of geology. Yet Earth's long habitability may depend partly upon processes hidden beneath its surface. A world can appear calm from space while its interior quietly protects its climate. This creates another difficulty for distant observations. A telescope may measure a planet's size, orbit, and atmosphere. It may not easily reveal whether its mantle moves, whether its crust recycles, or whether its climate contains stabilizing feedbacks. Two planets with similar skies could have very different futures. One may remain temperate for billions of years. The other may slowly lose the balance that kept its oceans open. A planet's mass also shapes its history. A very small world cools more quickly. As its interior loses heat, geological activity may decline. Its gravity may be too weak to retain lighter atmospheric gases over long periods. Mars illustrates part of this problem. It is only about half Earth's diameter and roughly 1/10 its mass. Its smaller size allowed its interior to cool more rapidly than Earth's. Mars once possessed a global magnetic field generated within its core. That field faded early in the planet's history. Without a strong global field and with relatively weak gravity, the atmosphere became more exposed to the solar wind. Over time, particles from the sun contributed to atmospheric loss. A magnetic field is not a simple guarantee of habitability. Venus lacks an Earth-like internal magnetic field, yet retains an extremely thick atmosphere. Other factors, including gravity, chemistry, and the rate of atmospheric replacement, also matter. Still, Earth's magnetic field helps deflect many charged particles around the planet. It forms a broad protective region called the magnetosphere. The field is generated by moving liquid metal inside Earth's outer core. Heat escaping from the interior drives circulation, and the planet's rotation helps organize the motion. This system has continued for much of Earth's history. A distant rocky planet may possess an ocean and atmosphere, while lacking a long-lived magnetic dynamo. Whether that difference determines the survival of life depends on the star, atmosphere, gravity, and many other conditions. Habitability rarely rests upon one shield. It emerges from several layers of protection working together. Earth's large moon may represent another unusual layer. The moon formed early in the planet's history, probably after a large collision between the young Earth and another planetary body. Its gravity raises tides in Earth's oceans. Those tides may have influenced coastal environments where early chemistry and biology developed. Repeated wetting and drying can concentrate molecules and create cycles that encourage complex reactions. The moon also affects Earth's rotation. Tidal interactions gradually slow the planet's spin. Earth's days were shorter in the distant past and have lengthened over time. The moon may also help stabilize the tilt of Earth's rotational axis. That tilt creates the seasons. It changes somewhat across long periods, but it remains within a range that allows relatively predictable climate cycles. Without the moon, Earth's tilt might vary more widely under the gravitational influence of other planets. Scientists continue to study how important this stability has been. A planet does not necessarily need a large moon to support life. Some models suggest that Earth could remain habitable without one. Other worlds may possess different architectures that stabilize their climates. Still, Earth's moon adds another feature that may not be common. Large moons are difficult to detect around exoplanets, and no exomoon has yet been confirmed beyond serious debate. If stable climates often require large moons, then the number of truly Earth-like worlds could be smaller than simple planet counts suggest. If moons are unnecessary, then this condition disappears. The uncertainty itself reveals how little is known. Earth may owe part of its biological history to a collision that happened more than 4 billion years ago. A random event in the earliest solar system may have shaped every later ocean tide and season. The arrangement of the larger planets may also have influenced Earth's survival. Jupiter is often described as a shield because its gravity can capture or deflect some comets and asteroids. The true role is more complicated. Jupiter can remove objects from the solar system, but it can also redirect them toward the inner planets. Its gravity shapes the asteroid belt and influences the paths of comets arriving from distant regions. Saturn and the other giant planets contribute as well. The solar system's architecture determines how material moves among its worlds. Some impacts may have delivered water and organic molecules to the early Earth. Others caused destruction. The same process that supplied useful ingredients also repeatedly altered the surface. A different arrangement of giant planets could create a calmer inner system, or it could send far more objects across the orbits of rocky worlds. Planetary systems around other stars display enormous variety. Some contain giant planets extremely close to their stars. These hot Jupiters may have migrated inward, disrupting or consuming smaller worlds along the way. Other systems contain several large planets in tight orbits. Some possess rocky worlds packed closer together than Mercury is to the Sun. Others contain planets moving along stretched, eccentric paths. The solar system appears relatively spacious. Its inner rocky planets occupy nearly circular orbits, while the giant planets remain farther out. This may be favorable for long-term stability. It may also be only one of many arrangements capable of supporting life. Astronomers have not observed enough mature Earth-like systems to know. Planetary formation can be turbulent. Young worlds collide, orbits shift, gas giants migrate. Some planets are thrown completely out of their systems and become free-floating worlds moving through interstellar darkness. A planet may begin inside a comfortable orbit, but not remain there. The development of life requires time. If orbital changes repeatedly freeze or heat a planet, stable evolution may become difficult. Earth has experienced large climate changes, but its oceans have persisted. Its orbit has remained comparatively regular over billions of years. This quiet consistency may be more valuable than perfect conditions at any single moment. The Sun contributes another unusual stability. It is not completely calm. It produces flares, coronal mass ejections, sunspots, and changes in activity. But compared with many smaller young stars, its behavior during the period of complex life has been moderate. The Sun is also a solitary star. Many stars form in pairs or larger groups. Planets in binary systems can still possess stable orbits. Some circle one star, while others orbit both. But additional stars create more complicated gravitational and radiation environments. A second star may alter a planet's orbit. It may create changing levels of illumination or disturb distant comets. Again, none of this makes life impossible. It simply adds complexity. The Sun's mass places it within a range that offers several advantages. It is large enough to remain steadily luminous for billions of years, but not so massive that it burns through its fuel quickly. Very massive stars may live only millions of years. That is probably too brief for life to pass through a long evolutionary history resembling Earth's. Small red dwarfs live far longer, but their close habitable zones expose planets to different challenges. Sun-like stars offer a middle path. They live for billions of years and provide habitable zones at wider distances. Yet even among Sun-like stars, no exact copy of the solar system has been confirmed with a known Earth twin. The ingredients may be common, the complete arrangement may be less so. Earth also formed at a favorable time within the history of the galaxy. The early universe contained mostly hydrogen and helium. Heavier elements such as carbon, oxygen, silicon, iron, and phosphorus were created inside stars and spread through space when stars released their outer layers or ended their lives. Rocky planets could not form until earlier generations of stars had enriched the cosmos. Earth formed after enough heavy elements existed to construct its core, crust, oceans, and biological chemistry. But too much energetic activity can also make a region difficult for long-term habitability. The inner Milky Way contains a higher density of stars. Close stellar encounters are more common there. Supernovae and other energetic events have occurred more frequently. The outer galaxy contains fewer heavy elements, especially in earlier cosmic periods. Some researchers have proposed a galactic habitable zone between these regions. Within this broad area, enough heavy elements exist to form rocky planets, while catastrophic events may be less frequent than near the crowded center. The idea remains debated. Life may survive in environments once considered unfavorable. Planetary atmospheres and oceans can provide protection. The galaxy also changes over time, and stars move through it. Still, Earth's location may represent another useful balance. The solar system lies far from the galactic center, within a relatively quiet region of the Milky Way's disk. It is not isolated from all energetic events, but it has remained sufficiently undisturbed for complex life to develop. Mass extinctions show that even Earth's stability has limits. Life has endured several events in which large portions of existing species disappeared. Some were connected to vast volcanic eruptions. One followed the impact of a large asteroid near the end of the age of non-avian dinosaurs. Climate shifted, oceans changed, food webs collapsed. Yet life continued. Microorganisms survived. Some plants and animals endured. New ecosystems eventually formed from the remaining branches. These events demonstrate both fragility and resilience. A biosphere can survive enormous disruption once it is deeply established, but the same event occurring earlier might prevent complexity from appearing. Frequent global catastrophes could repeatedly return a world to simple organisms. A planet may remain alive for billions of years without ever producing large bodies, advanced senses, or technology. Earth's history contains several mass extinctions. It also contains long intervals between them. Those intervals allowed ecosystems to diversify. The emergence of technological intelligence may therefore depend not only on surviving catastrophes, but on receiving enough uninterrupted time between them. A world with frequent impacts, unstable climate, or repeated stellar eruptions could support microbes indefinitely, while never allowing more complex life to persist. This again separates the question of life from the question of observers. A universe filled with bacteria could still contain only one civilization asking whether anyone else exists. The history of oxygen reveals another difficult transition. Early Earth had almost no free oxygen in its atmosphere. Life existed for a very long time under those conditions. Some organisms developed photosynthesis and released oxygen as a byproduct. At first, that oxygen reacted with iron and other materials. Only after these chemical sinks became less effective did oxygen begin accumulating in the oceans and atmosphere. This transformation, known as the Great Oxidation Event, began roughly 2.4 billion years ago. For many organisms adapted to oxygen-free environments, oxygen was harmful. For later life, it became a powerful source of metabolic energy. Oxygen supports efficient respiration. This energy helped make larger and more active organisms possible. But oxygen accumulation was not guaranteed. It depended on biological production, burial of organic carbon, geology, ocean chemistry, and many feedbacks operating together. A planet could host photosynthetic organisms without building an oxygen-rich atmosphere. Oxygen might react continuously with volcanic gases or surface minerals. The planet might remain biologically active but difficult to detect from far away. Earth itself would have appeared nearly lifeless through much of its history if distant astronomers searched only for modern atmospheric oxygen. The rise of oxygen also shows that complex life may depend on planetary transformation by earlier organisms. A world may need life to change its environment before later forms can evolve. This creates a long chain of dependence. First, life must begin. Then some organisms must discover a form of photosynthesis that releases oxygen. Then geological and chemical conditions must permit that oxygen to accumulate. Then complex cells must use the new energy source. Then multicellular organisms must develop and remain stable. Each stage may require enormous time. Earth did not move quickly from its first cells to intelligence. Simple life appeared early, but animals arrived much later. Technological civilization occupied only the smallest final fraction of the planet's history. This timeline can be interpreted in two ways. Perhaps evolution naturally advances toward complexity when given enough time, or perhaps the delay shows that several transitions were difficult. If complex life were easy, it might have appeared much earlier. Instead, Earth remained microbial for billions of years. The emergence of complex cells may have been one of the rarest steps. Every known animal, plant, fungus, and protist is built from eukaryotic cells. These cells contain nuclei and specialized internal structures. They appear to have arisen when different ancient microorganisms entered a lasting partnership. One cell eventually became the mitochondrion, the structure that supplies energy inside most complex cells. This event may have occurred only once in Earth's history. All known eukaryotes seem connected to that ancient merger. If such a partnership is highly improbable, many inhabited worlds may never progress beyond simple cells. They could contain oceans rich with biology while producing no forests, animals, or technology. Another major transition occurred when cells began cooperating within multicellular bodies. Multicellularity has evolved more than once on Earth, suggesting that it may not be exceptionally rare once complex cells exist. But large organized bodies require coordination. Cells must specialize, share resources, control reproduction, and sometimes sacrifice themselves for the larger organism. Complexity creates opportunities. It also creates vulnerability. A single cell can reproduce independently. A large organism depends upon many systems remaining synchronized. Evolution crossed this boundary repeatedly, but only after the eukaryotic cell had already developed. Intelligence arrived later still. There is no simple measure of intelligence across species. Many animals display memory, planning, communication, tool use, and social learning, but technological civilization requires a particular combination of abilities and circumstances. Hands or other precise structures must manipulate materials. Knowledge must pass reliably between generations. Language must become rich enough to store complicated ideas. Energy must be controlled. A species may be highly intelligent without following this path. Dolphins live within an environment where fire and metallurgy are nearly impossible. Octopuses possess remarkable problem-solving abilities, but generally lead short and solitary lives, limiting long-term cultural accumulation. Other species use tools without building an expanding technological system. Humanity's path depended upon anatomy, environment, social behavior, climate, and chance. No law of evolution states that intelligence must eventually build a radio telescope. Natural selection does not plan toward the stars. It favors traits useful in immediate environments. For most species, advanced technology is unnecessary. Earth produced billions of species across its history. Only one developed instruments capable of detecting exoplanets. That ratio cannot be applied directly to other worlds, but it suggests that technological intelligence is not an automatic outcome of biological diversity. A living planet can remain silent. A complex planet can remain silent. A planet filled with awareness can remain silent if none of its inhabitants controls radio waves or escapes the atmosphere. The silence of the galaxy may therefore begin long before civilization. It may begin at the origin of life. It may continue through the slow development of complex cells. It may deepen through evolutionary paths that never produce technology. By the time all these conditions are multiplied together, Earth-like civilizations could become extraordinarily sparse. This remains a hypothesis. No second biosphere exists for comparison. The same evidence could support more optimistic interpretations. Life may begin easily. Complex cells may appear through several pathways. Intelligence may evolve repeatedly across planets with stable environments. The universe may seem quiet, simply because the search is young. But the argument for solitude does not require absolute certainty. It asks whether Earth's history contains enough unusual transitions to make repetition uncommon. A stable sun, a persistent atmosphere, long-lived oceans, active geology, a useful planetary mass, a relatively steady orbit, a large moon, a favorable system architecture, survival through impacts and climate changes, the rise of oxygen, the appearance of complex cells, multicellularity, intelligence, technology. No single item makes Earth unique. Some may be unnecessary, others may be common. But a world may need several of them at once, in the correct sequence, sustained across billions of years. Probability becomes smaller when many conditions must overlap. A deck of cards contains no extraordinary individual card, yet one exact order of the entire deck is extraordinarily unlikely. Earth may be similar. Its ingredients could be ordinary, while their arrangement is rare. The planet is made from common elements. Its star is not unique. Water, carbon, and rock appear throughout the galaxy. What may be unusual is the uninterrupted chain connecting them to living observers. This is the central idea behind the rare Earth hypothesis. The hypothesis does not claim that Earth is the only inhabited world. It proposes that complex life may require a combination of astronomical, geological, and biological conditions that seldom occur together. Microbial life might still be widespread, or even microbes might be rare if the origin of biology is itself difficult. Rare Earth remains debated because many of its conditions cannot yet be measured across large numbers of planets. Astronomy can estimate planetary sizes and orbits. It is only beginning to study rocky atmospheres. It cannot yet survey plate tectonics, ocean depths, magnetic dynamos, moon systems, and evolutionary histories across thousands of distant worlds. The hypothesis, therefore, waits for data. Future telescopes may reveal that Earth-like environments are common. They may also reveal that most rocky planets resemble Venus, Mars, or entirely unfamiliar worlds. For now, Earth's long stability stands as an observed fact. Its frequency elsewhere remains unknown. The planet has remained habitable despite a gradually brightening sun. Early in Earth's history, the sun produced less energy than it does now. Under the present atmosphere, the oceans should have frozen, yet geological evidence shows that liquid water existed. This is known as the faint young sun paradox. A stronger greenhouse effect, created by gases such as carbon dioxide and methane, probably helped keep the early Earth warm. As the sun brightened, atmospheric chemistry changed. Carbon dioxide generally declined over geological time, helping prevent excessive warming. Life, geology, weathering, oceans, and sunlight interacted across billions of years. No central mechanism guided this balance. It emerged from natural feedbacks. The balance was not perfect. Earth experienced widespread glaciations, including periods when ice may have reached close to the equator. It also experienced very warm climates. Yet liquid water and life persisted somewhere through these changes. A planet without the same feedbacks might freeze completely or lose its oceans. Once a world enters a stable frozen state, the bright ice reflects much of the incoming starlight, making recovery difficult. Once a world becomes too warm, water vapor can strengthen warming, potentially pushing the climate toward a runaway state. Between these outcomes lies a region of long-term stability. Earth has remained within it. That may reflect common planetary regulation, or it may reflect unusual fortune. The search for planets usually begins with where a world is now. Life depends upon where it has been. A temperate planet observed today may have spent billions of years frozen. It may have lost its atmosphere recently. It may be passing through a brief mild period between unstable states. A living world requires more than a favorable snapshot. It requires a history. That history is difficult to read across light years. A telescope may see clouds and water vapor, but not know how long they have existed. A planet may appear comfortable during one short observation, while its climate changes dramatically over geological time. Earth's atmosphere and oceans preserve continuity that has lasted long enough for simple chemistry to become civilization. This duration may be the rarest resource of all. Life requires energy and material. Complexity requires time. Intelligence requires still more time. A planet must avoid becoming permanently unsuitable before each transition occurs. Its star must continue shining. Its atmosphere must remain. Its oceans must persist. Its orbit must avoid large disruption. The chain can be broken at any stage. This does not mean the universe is hostile to life. It means that a world can be beautiful, active, and chemically rich without becoming inhabited. A planet may possess blue oceans beneath white clouds and remain silent forever. Another may contain microorganisms but never animals. Another may develop complex ecosystems only to lose them before intelligence emerges. The galaxy could contain countless beginnings and very few completions. Earth is the only completion currently known. Even Earth's future is limited. The sun continues to brighten slowly. Over hundreds of millions of years, this increasing energy will place greater pressure on Earth's climate. Weathering may remove more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Plants relying on certain forms of photosynthesis may struggle as carbon dioxide declines. Farther into the future, oceans may begin evaporating more rapidly. Earth's habitable period is long, but not infinite. Technological intelligence appeared late within it. If humanity had required another billion years to evolve, the environmental window might have begun closing. This introduces a timing constraint. A planet must not only become habitable, life must begin early enough. Complexity must develop quickly enough. Intelligence must arrive before the star's evolution removes the opportunity. Earth succeeded within its available interval. Many worlds may not. The evidence remains circumstantial. No telescope has shown that all other planets failed. No experiment has demonstrated that Earth's sequence is unique. But the chain of conditions offers a calm explanation for the silence. Perhaps the galaxy is filled with worlds that came close. They formed oceans. They built atmospheres. They gathered organic molecules in warm pools and deep vents. But one transition did not occur. Or it occurred too late. Or the environment changed before complexity could follow. The universe may contain many almost Earths. Worlds with most of the ingredients. Worlds with part of the history. Worlds that remained one step away from biology. Or one step away from thought. From a distance, they may look promising. Their clouds may drift across deep oceans. Their mountains may erode into rivers. Their moons may raise tides along empty shores. They would not reveal their silence through appearance alone. Only patient observation could show that the atmosphere contains no biological imbalance, no seasonal breathing, and no sign of technology. A lifeless Earth-like planet would be one of the most important discoveries astronomy could make. It would demonstrate that even a familiar environment does not guarantee life. Several such worlds would strengthen the argument that biology is rare. For now, no true Earth twin has been studied closely enough to provide that comparison. The universe remains undecided, but Earth's history offers a warning against simple assumptions. A planet is not alive because it is rocky. It is not alive because it has water. It is not alive because it circles within a habitable zone. Life may require a sequence so long and delicate that the final result rarely appears. The silence may not come from a lack of worlds. It may come from the difficulty of becoming one particular kind of world for long enough. A world where water remains, where climate recovers, where cells cooperate, where evolution reaches awareness, where awareness builds an instrument and looks outward. Earth has traveled that entire path once. Until another planet reveals the same journey, the possibility remains that the path is almost never completed. And among the Milky Way's countless stars, this small living world may be resting within a very rare alignment of time, matter, and chance. The deepest argument for cosmic solitude may lie within the smallest distance imaginable. It lies between chemistry and life. Carbon atoms can join into complex molecules. Fatty compounds can gather into tiny spheres. Certain molecules can copy fragments of information or accelerate chemical reactions. Yet none of these abilities alone creates a living organism. Life combines several processes within one continuing system. It maintains an interior distinct from its surroundings. It gathers energy and raw materials. It stores information. It reproduces that information while allowing small changes to appear. Those changes must influence survival and reproduction. Only then can natural selection begin shaping one generation after another. The transition sounds gentle when described in a few sentences. In physical reality, it may require many chemical problems to be solved together. A useful information molecule must form. Its components must become available in the same environment. Copies must be produced accurately enough to preserve useful patterns. A boundary must protect the system without preventing nutrients from entering or waste from leaving. Energy must be captured. The system must grow. Eventually, the information, metabolism, and boundary must reproduce together rather than drifting apart. Researchers have made remarkable progress on individual pieces of this puzzle. They have produced membrane-like compartments, catalytic RNA, self-reproducing chemical structures, and engineered protocells capable of limited evolution. But no experiment has yet traced a complete natural path from simple early Earth chemistry to an autonomous organism that sustains itself and evolves without modern biological machinery supplied by researchers. This missing path does not show that the origin was improbable. The correct environment may simply have disappeared from Earth. Early oceans, volcanic landscapes, mineral surfaces, and atmospheric chemistry were changed long ago. The first living systems may also have been fragile. They may have left no fossil structure and no clear chemical signature. Later organisms could have consumed their components, competed with them, or replaced them entirely. Still, the missing path leaves room for a quiet possibility. Perhaps the origin of life is difficult, even on a favorable planet. Earth contains a great abundance of living things today, but all known organisms appear connected. Cells use related genetic machinery. They build proteins through closely shared systems. They rely on a largely universal genetic code, that links sequences in nucleic acids to sequences of amino acids. This unity points backward toward common ancestry. It does not necessarily mean that only one primitive system ever appeared. Several early forms may have emerged, exchanged material, competed, or disappeared. Yet only one connected biological lineage is known to have survived into the present. Scientists use the term LUCA for the last universal common ancestor of all sampled modern cellular life. LUCA was not necessarily the first organism. It was already the result of an earlier evolutionary history. A recent phylogenomic study reconstructed LUCA as a comparatively complex, microbe-like organism living within an ecosystem, and estimated that it existed around 4.2 billion years ago. The estimate remains model-dependent, but the broader lesson is important. By the time life reaches the oldest stage that genetics can reconstruct confidently, many of its central systems are already established. The truly mysterious interval comes before LUCA. Somewhere within that hidden period, non-living reactions became systems capable of Darwinian evolution. No surviving genome records the earliest steps directly. It is rather like finding an ancient city while every road leading toward it has disappeared beneath the sea. The city proves that travelers arrived. It does not reveal which path they followed or how difficult the journey was. One leading possibility is known as the RNA world. Modern cells divide biological labor among several kinds of molecules. DNA stores much of the inherited information. Proteins perform many structural and catalytic tasks. RNA carries messages, helps regulate genes, and forms central parts of the machinery that builds proteins. RNA is unusual because it can perform more than one role. Its sequence can store information. Some RNA molecules can also fold into shapes that accelerate chemical reactions. These catalytic RNA molecules are called ribozymes. This dual ability makes RNA an attractive candidate for an earlier stage of life. Before DNA and proteins developed their modern partnership, RNA-like molecules may have carried information while also helping to copy or modify other molecules. The idea is elegant. Its chemistry is demanding. RNA consists of nucleotide units joined into chains. Each nucleotide contains a sugar, a phosphate group, and a chemical base. Early Earth needed plausible ways to produce these parts, assemble them, concentrate them, and link them into useful sequences. The molecules then needed to survive long enough to copy themselves. Water is essential to known life, but water can also break chemical bonds. Heat may accelerate useful reactions while also damaging the products. Dilute oceans provide enormous volume, yet that same volume can scatter molecules until useful encounters become rare. A successful origin environment may therefore have required cycles. Water arrives and then retreats. Temperatures rise and fall. Molecules gather on mineral surfaces and later enter liquid again. Freezing concentrates material into narrow channels between ice crystals. The challenge is not simply creating one molecule. It is creating a landscape in which many reactions support one another rather than leading into chemical disorder. Laboratory studies continue showing that RNA can perform more of these tasks than once expected. Researchers have developed ribozymes that help assemble RNA strands, and recent studies have explored networks of self-reproducing ribozymes capable of generating related catalytic molecules. These systems demonstrate that RNA-based reproduction is chemically possible under designed conditions. They do not show that complete self-replicators appeared spontaneously on early Earth. The laboratory begins with carefully chosen sequences, purified materials, controlled temperatures, and researchers who select the environment. Nature would have needed to discover a workable system without any planning. Copying introduces another quiet difficulty. A primitive replicator cannot make unlimited mistakes. If every generation changes too much, useful information disappears. The descendants no longer preserve the sequence that allowed copying to occur. But perfect copying is not required. A small level of error creates variation, giving natural selection material to shape. Life therefore needs a narrow relationship between information length and copying accuracy. A short molecule may be copied tolerably even by an inefficient system, but it cannot store many instructions. A longer molecule can carry more information, yet it creates more opportunities for mistakes. Modern cells solve this problem with elaborate enzymes that copy genetic material and repair errors. Those enzymes are themselves encoded by genetic information. The early system could not begin with the full machinery used today. Information and copying ability had to improve together. This creates a circular appearance. Better replication allows longer genomes. Longer genomes can encode better replication, but some workable beginning must exist before either side can support the other. Researchers study networks in which several molecules help reproduce one another. One RNA may assist a second, which assists a third, while the whole network persists through mutual activity. Such cooperation could reduce the burden placed on a single early molecule. It also creates vulnerability. A shorter molecule may use the network's resources without contributing. These molecular parasites can reproduce faster because they carry less information. Without compartments, helpful molecules and parasites mix freely. A successful chemical system must somehow preserve cooperation long enough for improvement to occur. This is where membranes become important. Certain fatty molecules naturally arrange themselves in water. One part interacts comfortably with water, while another avoids it. Under suitable conditions, the molecules form sheets or hollow spheres. These spheres resemble very simple cellular boundaries. They can trap molecules inside. A compartment does not need to understand what it encloses. Ordinary physical chemistry creates the boundary. Once useful molecules remain together, however, selection can begin acting on the compartment as a whole. A sphere containing an efficient replicator might grow or divide more successfully than one containing only inactive chemistry. But the membrane creates new problems. Raw materials must enter. Useful products must remain. Waste must escape. The compartment must grow without becoming unstable. When it divides, both descendants must receive enough of the internal system to continue. If the genetic molecules reproduce but the membrane does not, the system separates. If the membrane divides without distributing its contents, one daughter may remain empty. Modern cells coordinate these processes through complex molecular machinery. A protocell must begin with much simpler physical behavior. Recent experiments show that partial coordination can be created. Some studies have reported the simultaneous formation of model protocells and prebiotic molecules under controlled conditions, suggesting that compartments and important chemical ingredients need not originate in completely separate environments. Other experiments have demonstrated self-reproducing polymeric vesicles through non-biological chemical processes. These studies show that growth, enclosure, and reproduction-like behavior can arise from chemistry. They do not yet produce a naturally formed living cell combining open-ended evolution, autonomous metabolism, and inherited biological information. Other work has created synthetic protocells that support replication and adaptive evolution of DNA. The achievement is scientifically important, yet such systems rely upon recombinant gene expression machinery derived from existing biology. They demonstrate what compartmentalized molecular systems can do when essential components are already provided. They do not recreate the unaided beginning of those components. This distinction is central to the argument. A laboratory can show that a bridge is physically possible by constructing sections from prepared material. Nature still needed to gather the material and assemble the first bridge without engineers standing nearby. Metabolism presents another possible starting point. Every organism requires a continuous flow of energy. Cells are not static collections of molecules. They remain organized only because chemical reactions constantly rebuild their parts, transport material, and maintain differences between the inside and outside. When that activity stops permanently, the organization fades. Some origin models therefore place energy before genetic replication. Mineral surfaces, hydrothermal systems, or natural chemical gradients may have supported networks of reactions that gradually became more organized. At alkaline hydrothermal vents, warm chemically reduced fluids can meet cooler ocean water. Thin mineral barriers may separate regions with different concentrations of charged particles. Modern cells use similar differences across membranes to power important reactions. Natural vent structures could have provided a primitive version of this energy landscape before biological membranes existed. The setting offers water, minerals, carbon chemistry, and continuing energy. But the deep ocean presents difficulties too. Molecules may become diluted. High temperatures can damage some compounds. Useful products may flow away before becoming part of a stable system. Shallow pools offer a different possibility. Water can evaporate, concentrating material, Wet and dry cycles can promote bonds between smaller molecules. Sunlight may provide energy for reactions, but exposed surfaces receive ultraviolet radiation, and useful chemistry may be disrupted as quickly as it forms. Cold environments offer yet another path. Ice can protect some molecules and concentrate them within small pockets of remaining liquid. Reactions become slower, but fragile structures may survive longer. No single environment has been established as the birthplace of life. The origin may have involved material moving among several environments. Atmospheric chemistry could form one set of molecules, meteorites could deliver another, rivers could carry them toward volcanic ponds, underground systems could provide energy. The final pathway may not resemble one isolated laboratory flask. It may resemble an entire planet performing a sequence of experiments across millions of years. This enormous scale is sometimes used to argue that life should appear easily. Earth contained countless pools, pores, coastlines, mineral surfaces, and hydrothermal systems. Reactions occurred again and again. Even a highly unlikely event might happen somewhere given enough opportunities. But the same scale makes probability difficult to calculate. No record shows how many unsuccessful chemical systems came before the first evolving one. No measurement reveals whether the successful pathway required one fortunate step or a long sequence of fortunate steps. A probability cannot be estimated confidently from one planet where success is known to have occurred. Another challenge appears within the molecules of life themselves. Many organic molecules exist in two mirror-image forms. They contain the same atoms and bonds, but their three-dimensional arrangements resemble left and right hands. Non-living chemistry often produces mixtures containing both versions. Earth life uses a strong preference. Proteins are built almost entirely from left-handed amino acids, while the sugars in DNA and RNA possess the opposite-handedness. This molecular consistency is called homochirality. It helps biological structures fit together reliably. Enzymes recognize particular shapes. Genetic molecules form regular structures because their components share one orientation. How the first biological system selected and maintained this preference remains unresolved. Small imbalances can arise naturally. Light, mineral surfaces, crystallization, or reactions in space may favor one orientation slightly. Meteorites sometimes contain modest excesses of one molecular form, but a slight imbalance must somehow become a nearly complete preference. A system using mixed orientations may have difficulty forming regular polymers. Some reactions can amplify an initial difference, and selection may later preserve the more successful orientation. Yet no single mechanism has been confirmed as the full historical explanation for terrestrial homochirality. The genetic code presents another deep regularity. Modern organisms use sets of 3 nucleotide units to specify amino acids. The code is nearly universal across Earth life, with limited variations in some organisms and cellular structures. The connection between a particular nucleotide triplet and a particular amino acid is mediated by a complex translation system involving RNA and proteins. Neither side works easily without the other. Proteins are built according to genetic instructions, but proteins help copy those instructions and translate them. RNA forms the central structure of the ribosome, the molecular machine that constructs proteins, which preserves a possible memory of an earlier RNA-dominated stage. Still, the transition from a simple replicating molecule to the modern code is immense. Early systems needed a way to connect information with function. A sequence had to influence the construction of molecules that improved the sequence's own survival or reproduction. Before this connection, information could be copied but could not easily direct a complex metabolism. After the connection, evolution could explore a vast landscape of proteins. The emergence of coding may therefore have been one of the most important transitions in the history of life. It may also have been one of the most difficult. No geological fossil preserves the first code. Comparisons among modern organisms reveal shared ancestry but cannot replay the exact sequence of early events. Experiments can test possible intermediate systems. They cannot yet determine which one actually occurred. The beginning of life also had to become independent of favorable accidents. A chemical reaction may continue only while a rare mineral, exact temperature, or special concentration remains available. Living systems eventually carry much of their own organization with them. They regulate internal conditions. They use enzymes to accelerate reactions that would otherwise be too slow. They repair damage and reproduce in changing environments. The first evolving system did not need all these abilities, but it needed enough stability to persist while the surroundings fluctuated. A coastal pool can dry completely. A vent can become blocked. A meteorite impact can alter the landscape. A useful chemical lineage must survive interruptions or spread into new locations. This is another point where chance and selection meet. Before reliable heredity exists, chemical progress can be lost. After reliable heredity exists, successful adaptations can accumulate. The first true replicator may therefore represent a threshold. Before it, every improvement depends mainly upon chemistry happening again. After it, information allows the results of earlier success to be retained. Crossing this threshold could be easy under suitable conditions, or it could be so rare that most habitable planets never reach it. Earth's early history appears encouraging at first. Some studies place the common ancestor of modern life surprisingly early, and geological evidence suggests biology was established within the planet's first billion years. A rapid beginning can support the idea that life appears readily when water and suitable chemistry become available. But the interpretation remains uncertain. Earth formed roughly 4.5 billion years ago. Its earliest surface was repeatedly changed by impacts, heat, volcanism, and geological recycling. The oldest evidence is indirect and debated. The timing of Luca also does not equal the timing of life's origin. Luca may have lived after a substantial period of earlier evolution. Even if life began quickly, one rapid event does not reveal a universal rate. A rare process can happen early in one successful case. Imagine a vast field of clocks, each waiting for a random event. Only a clock where the event occurs early can eventually produce observers before its time runs out. Those observers will naturally look backward and see an early event. They cannot compare themselves with the silent clocks where nothing happened. This selection effect prevents Earth's history from supplying a simple probability. A second independent origin would change the situation. If life were discovered beneath Europa's ice and its chemistry showed no ancestry shared with Earth, the solar system would contain two separate transitions from chemistry to biology. The likelihood of life beginning under suitable conditions would rise dramatically. If Mars preserved an independent ancient biosphere, 3 nearby rocky environments would have produced at least 2 biological histories. Life would begin to appear like a repeatable planetary process. But the opposite observation would also matter. Suppose Mars once contained lakes, rivers, carbon compounds, and energy, yet returned samples contained no biological pattern. Suppose Europa and Enceladus held long-lived oceans where water met rock, but increasingly sensitive missions found chemistry without cells. Suppose distant planets displayed water and temperate climates without atmospheric disequilibrium. No single empty world would prove that origins are rare, but a collection of chemically promising and biologically silent worlds would begin constraining the probability. The universe has not yet supplied this collection. Mars remains incompletely sampled. The oceans of icy moons remain physically unexplored. Distant rocky atmospheres are only beginning to enter observational reach. The argument for solitude therefore rests on uncertainty rather than measurement. Science does not know how life begins. It has not observed the process in nature. It has not completed the process from simple ingredients in a laboratory. It has found no second independent example. These facts leave the earliest transition as a possible bottleneck. The same caution applies in both directions. It is not valid to claim that an unsolved origin means life requires an almost impossible accident. Many natural processes were poorly understood before their mechanisms were discovered. Lightning once lacked an electrical explanation. Stars once lacked a known energy source. Continents moved before geology understood plate tectonics. A missing explanation can reflect limited knowledge rather than rarity. But it is equally uncertain to assume that life appears automatically wherever water and carbon remain together. Oceans are not cells. Organic molecules are not ancestors. Amino acids are not genetic codes. Membrane bubbles are not self-sustaining organisms. The distance between these stages is the very distance research is attempting to understand. This distance may be crossed through countless small, likely steps. It may require several unusual transitions. Present evidence cannot choose confidently between them. If life begins easily, the galaxy may contain many quiet microbial worlds. If life begins rarely, Most oceans may remain purely chemical for their entire histories. Rain may fall into them. Minerals may dissolve. Organic molecules may join, separate, and join again. Millions of years may pass. Then billions. The chemistry may grow rich without ever beginning to remember itself. No molecule would preserve a successful arrangement from one generation to the next. No boundary would become an ancestor. No reaction would enter the open-ended path of evolution. The planet would remain active, intricate, and entirely without life. Such a world would not appear empty in the ordinary sense. Its atmosphere would move, its volcanoes would reshape the land, its oceans would circulate beneath starlight or ice. Only one quality would be absent. Nothing within it would inherit a past. Nothing would adapt toward a future. The possibility that most worlds remain on this side of the threshold offers a simple explanation for the silence. Planets may be plentiful. Habitability may be moderately common. The ingredients may fall from the sky, but the first evolving system may almost never assemble. In that case, Earth's greatest rarity would not be its continents, moon, atmosphere, or position around the sun. It would be one forgotten chemical event in the planet's ancient waters, an event so small that no rock clearly preserves it, an event from which every forest, bird, whale, and human thought eventually followed. No other world would need to be hostile. No cosmic catastrophe would need to erase its biology. The biology would simply never begin. For now, that conclusion remains unproven. Origin of life research is steadily narrowing the gaps. Experiments reveal that molecules can organize, compartments can form, and replication-like systems can evolve under selected conditions. Each discovery may eventually show that the path is smoother than it appears. Or the experiments may reveal how many separate conditions must align before the parts become one autonomous system. Both outcomes are scientifically meaningful. The question is no longer whether chemistry can perform individual lifelike behaviors. It can. The question is whether a natural planetary environment commonly joins those behaviors into a lineage capable of continuing without assistance. Earth answered yes once. Every other world remains silent, and hidden within that single unanswered transition may rest the strongest possibility that life, rather than being scattered across the stars, began only here. Even after life begins, the path toward complex organisms may remain remarkably narrow. For most of Earth's history, life was microscopic. The oceans contained cells, microbial communities transformed minerals, exchanged genes, captured energy, and slowly altered the atmosphere. Yet there were no forests, animals, voices, or eyes looking upward. Life had crossed the first threshold. It had not crossed the later ones. This long microbial age matters because it shows that biology does not automatically move toward greater complexity. Evolution has no distant goal. It does not begin with a cell and quietly aim toward intelligence. Natural selection responds only to immediate conditions. A small organism that reproduces efficiently may have no reason to become larger. A simple body can require fewer resources. Microbes can occupy tiny spaces, adapt quickly, and survive environmental changes that would overwhelm more elaborate organisms. Earth remained biologically active for billions of years before complex multicellular animals appeared. The persistence of microbial life across most of the planet's history leaves open the possibility that many inhabited worlds never progress beyond this quiet stage. The first great transition after simple cells was the emergence of the eukaryotic cell. Animals, plants, fungi, and many microscopic organisms are eukaryotes. Their cells contain internal compartments, including a nucleus that holds genetic material and mitochondria that help manage energy. Bacteria and archaea generally possess simpler cellular architectures. They can perform extraordinary chemistry, communicate, cooperate, and shape entire environments, but they do not contain the same arrangement of internal structures found in eukaryotic cells. The origin of this more elaborate cell is called eukaryogenesis. It remains one of the most important and unresolved transitions in evolutionary history. Modern evidence indicates that eukaryotic cells emerged through a deep partnership among different microbial lineages. An archaeal-related host formed a lasting association with a bacterium. The bacterial partner eventually became the mitochondrion. This was not a temporary interaction. The two cells became one evolutionary unit. Genes moved between them. Their metabolisms became integrated. Their reproduction became coordinated. a former bacterium slowly became an organelle passed from one generation to the next. The exact order of the transformation remains debated. Researchers continue investigating whether the host already possessed some complex features before acquiring the mitochondrial ancestor, and how its membranes, nucleus, and internal transport systems developed. Yet the endosymbiotic origin of mitochondria is supported strongly, and all known eukaryotic groups appear to share this ancient inheritance. This shared inheritance raises a quiet question. Did the transition happen only once? Complex eukaryotic life is astonishingly diverse. A redwood, an octopus, a mushroom, and a human body seem to represent separate biological inventions, but each is built from cells that trace back to the same broad eukaryotic ancestry. No second, completely independent type of complex cell has been confirmed on Earth. Perhaps similar mergers happened repeatedly and left no surviving descendants. Perhaps competing lineages were absorbed or replaced, or perhaps the stable union that produced the first eukaryotes was an unusually difficult event. Two ancient organisms needed to enter a relationship that did not end with digestion, rejection, or separation. They needed to survive together. Their genetic and metabolic systems needed to become compatible. The internal partner had to reproduce at a rate coordinated with its host. Too many partners could drain the cell's resources. Too few could leave descendants without the energy system they required. Over generations, the relationship had to change from cooperation into dependence. The host lost some abilities because the partner supplied them. The partner lost much of its independence because the host provided protection and material. Eventually, neither could return easily to its earlier life. Evolution had crossed a bridge and removed much of the bridge behind it. If this happened only once during Earth's biological history, then the transition from microbial worlds to complex cellular worlds may represent a major filter. A planet could contain life across every ocean and never produce the kind of cell from which animals, plants, and large organized bodies can develop. Mitochondria may have offered complex cells an important energetic advantage. They place energy-producing membranes inside the cell rather than limiting those membranes to the outer boundary. This arrangement can support larger genomes, internal transport, active movement, and increasingly elaborate cellular regulation. Researchers continue debating how decisive this energy advantage was, and which features appeared before or after mitochondrial acquisition. The broader point remains simpler. Complex life on Earth depends upon a cellular partnership whose formation is still not fully understood. The transition also depended upon a changing planet. Early Earth contained very little free oxygen. Some microorganisms eventually developed oxygen-producing photosynthesis. They used light to extract energy and released oxygen as a byproduct. At first, that oxygen did not simply gather in the sky. It reacted with iron in the oceans, volcanic gases, exposed minerals, and other materials capable of removing it. Only after these chemical sinks changed did oxygen begin accumulating more substantially within the atmosphere. The process unfolded in stages rather than one smooth rise. Oxygen levels increased, declined, and varied across oceans and geological periods. Much later, sufficiently oxygenated environments became more widespread, helping support the energy demands of large and active organisms. Oxygen is powerful because cells can use it to release substantial energy from food, but it is also chemically reactive. Before organisms could use oxygen safely, they needed ways to manage the damage it can cause. Antioxidant systems, repair mechanisms, and controlled respiration all became important. A planet could therefore produce oxygen without immediately producing complex organisms. Photosynthetic microbes might release it, while oceans and rocks continually remove it. Oxygen-rich regions might appear temporarily and then fade. The chemistry of the planet must allow biological production to exceed geological consumption. The organisms must then evolve methods for using the new energy source. This is not one transition. It is a sequence of transitions involving biology, oceans, atmosphere, and stone. Earth's complex life did not merely appear upon a prepared planet. Earlier life helped prepare the planet for what followed. A distant world may contain photosynthesis without large organisms. It may contain oxygen-producing microbes while its atmosphere remains nearly oxygen-free. It may possess an oxygen-rich sky but lack the cellular innovations needed to use that energy for greater complexity. The relationship between oxygen and life is therefore not a simple ladder. It is a long conversation between organisms and their environment. Complex multicellularity created another major threshold. Simple forms of multicellularity have evolved many times. Cells can remain attached after division. Separate organisms can gather into colonies. Cooperation can help them avoid predators, collect nutrients, or survive changing conditions. Experiments have even observed unicellular algae evolving stable multicellular life cycles under selection from predators. This suggests that the first step from one cell to a small group may not be exceptionally difficult under the right circumstances, but a cluster of similar cells is not yet an animal, plant, or complex fungus. Complex multicellularity requires cells to perform different jobs. Some become protective surfaces. Others transport material, digest food, detect light, contract into muscle, carry electrical signals, or produce reproductive cells. These specialized cells must communicate. They must switch different genes on and off despite containing almost the same inherited information. They must know where they are within the body and respond to signals from neighboring cells. Growth must be controlled. A cell that reproduces only for itself can damage the larger organism. In animal bodies, uncontrolled cell division becomes cancer. Multicellular organisms therefore require systems that suppress conflict among their own cells. Some cells must stop reproducing, others must die at carefully controlled moments so that tissues can form correctly. An individual cell may sacrifice its immediate reproduction to help the organism pass shared genes into the future. This is an extraordinary form of cooperation. It becomes easier when the body develops from one original cell, making its cells close genetic relatives. Even then, evolution must maintain communication, policing, repair, and coordinated development. Complex multicellularity has emerged independently in only a limited number of major lineages, including animals, land plants, fungi, red algae, and brown algae. Many other lineages develop colonies or simpler multicellular forms without producing deeply specialized tissues and organs. The difference resembles the difference between a gathering and a city. A gathering requires individuals to remain near one another. A city requires transportation, communication, waste removal, construction, specialization, rules, and systems that prevent the whole structure from dissolving into conflict. A simple microbial colony may form whenever cooperation offers an advantage. A complex body requires generations of integration. The cells lose much of their independence. A heart cell cannot leave the body and create another animal. A leaf cell does not live like a free alga. Specialized parts become useful only within the organized whole. This dependence allows remarkable complexity. It also makes the organism vulnerable. A small failure in development can affect the entire body. A broken regulatory signal can disrupt many tissues. Larger organisms require reliable reproduction, longer development, and greater energy. On another inhabited planet, life might repeatedly form mats, colonies, or filaments without crossing into complex bodies. Its oceans could glow with microbial color. Its shores could be covered by living layers. Yet nothing might develop organs, long-distance senses, or nervous systems. Multicellular life does not immediately lead to intelligence. Most complex organisms on Earth have no brain. Plants respond to light, gravity, touch, damage, and chemical signals without neurons. Fungi build vast networks through soil. Animals themselves existed for long periods before any lineage developed the cognitive combination associated with human technology. Nervous systems are expensive. They consume energy and require continual maintenance. They become useful only when rapid information processing improves an organism's survival. A stationary organism may gain little from building a large brain. A slowly moving organism may depend more upon chemical responses. Even active animals can succeed through inherited behavior and relatively simple neural systems. Evolution produces complexity only when the immediate advantages exceed the costs. A larger brain is not automatically better. It requires more food, it can lengthen development and make childbirth more difficult. Young individuals may need prolonged care before they become independent. These costs can be supported only within particular ecological and social conditions. Earth contains many lineages with sophisticated cognition. Birds solve puzzles and transmit behaviors. Cetaceans communicate, cooperate, and maintain social relationships. Primates use tools and learn from one another. Cephalopods explore objects and solve unfamiliar problems. These abilities show that intelligence is not one isolated feature. Several cognitive capacities have appeared in different forms. But no other known species developed humanity's particular combination of symbolic language, cumulative culture, precise manipulation, controlled energy, and large-scale technological cooperation. This combination may be far less common than intelligence in a general sense. Human language is both biological and cultural. The brain and vocal system provide capacities for learning and producing language. Communities shape those capacities into shared systems of sounds, gestures, symbols, and grammar. No individual invents a complete language alone. Each generation receives one from earlier generations and changes it slightly. Language allows information to travel beyond direct observation. A person can learn about a distant place never visited, an animal never encountered, or an event that happened before birth. Knowledge becomes detached from one lifetime. Cumulative culture adds another layer. Many animals learn socially. Some behaviors spread through groups and persist across generations. But human culture often behaves like a ratchet. An improvement can be preserved, copied, and improved again. One person shapes a stone tool. Another modifies the edge. A later generation develops a handle. Still later, communities refine mining, furnaces, alloys, measurement, and engineering. No single person needs to rediscover the entire path. The knowledge accumulates beyond individual mental capacity. An intelligent species without cumulative culture might remain technologically simple. Each generation could learn from experience while losing most discoveries when individuals die. A species with language but limited manual control might exchange rich ideas without building machines. A species with dexterous limbs but no access to concentrated energy might create tools while never developing industry. Human technology required several conditions to overlap: hands capable of precise movement, vision suited to guiding those movements, social groups that exchanged knowledge, long childhoods that allowed extensive learning, language that preserved instructions, land environments where fire could be controlled, accessible stone, wood, fibers, metals, and fuels. None of these traits evolved in order to create radio telescopes. They arose through separate histories and later became combined. Fire illustrates this dependence. Controlled fire provided warmth, protection, altered landscapes, and cooked food. It also became an early doorway into chemistry. Heat transforms materials. Clay becomes pottery. Ores release metals. Sand becomes glass. Without high temperatures, many later technologies remain unreachable. An intelligent aquatic civilization could understand its surroundings deeply, while finding controlled combustion almost impossible beneath water. It might communicate, remember, and cooperate for millions of years without developing metallurgy or electronics. The universe could contain minds that remain invisible to searchers for machines. Even on land, intelligence does not guarantee industrial civilization. A species may live where accessible metals are scarce. Its environment may change before technology accumulates. Small populations may repeatedly lose specialized knowledge. Evolution might produce intelligence without the social tolerance required for large-scale cooperation. It might produce social groups without the curiosity or manipulative anatomy that supports complex engineering. Technological civilization is not one biological trait. It is a chain of biological and cultural conditions. Earth completed this chain only once. That observation does not reveal the probability elsewhere. Humanity may be the first of many similar outcomes, or it may represent an evolutionary path so dependent upon contingency that it almost never repeats. Contingency means that history could have unfolded differently. Earth's organisms are shaped not only by broad natural laws but by particular events. Continents moved, climates shifted, species competed, volcanoes altered the atmosphere, impacts changed ecosystems. One of the most familiar examples occurred about 66 million years ago, when a large impact contributed to a mass extinction that ended the dominance of non-avian dinosaurs. Mammals survived and later diversified into many ecological roles. Eventually, one mammalian lineage produced primates, humans, and technology. Without that impact, mammals might still have diversified in another way. Intelligence could have evolved in a different lineage, or the ecological conditions leading toward humanity might never have appeared. Evolution cannot be rerun to reveal the answer. The present world is one surviving branch among many unrealized possibilities. Major extinctions can remove dominant groups while opening opportunities for others. They can accelerate innovation by changing ecosystems. They can also erase complex lineages before intelligence develops. A planet with no large disruptions might remain dominated by stable organisms that leave little ecological space for new forms. A planet with too many disruptions might repeatedly lose complexity. Earth experienced disturbances severe enough to reshape evolution, but not severe enough to sterilize the planet. Once again, the useful condition may lie between extremes, not perfect stability, not continuous upheaval. A long history containing enough continuity for complexity, and enough change for new opportunities. The same uncertainty applies to convergent evolution. Certain solutions appear repeatedly on Earth. Eyes evolved independently in several lineages. Wings appeared in insects, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Streamlined bodies developed in sharks, marine reptiles, and dolphins. These repetitions suggest that natural selection can find similar answers when organisms face similar physical problems. Perhaps intelligence is another such answer. Where complex animals compete, communicate, hunt, cooperate, and manipulate objects, increasingly flexible cognition may often be useful, but convergence is rarely exact. Bird wings and bat wings both enable flight, yet their structures and evolutionary histories differ. Several animals display impressive cognition, but none followed exactly the human technological path. Evolution may repeatedly approach portions of intelligence without combining them into civilization. A world may produce excellent memory without language, social cooperation without tools, tool use without cumulative culture, culture without industry. Each partial step can be valuable on its own. Natural selection has no reason to continue toward radio astronomy once an organism is already successful within its environment. The argument for solitude, therefore, becomes a multiplication of uncertain probabilities. First, life must begin. Then a lineage may need to develop a complex cell. The planet may need to oxygenate or provide another powerful energy system. Complex multicellularity must emerge. Stable ecosystems must persist. Senses and nervous systems must become sufficiently elaborate. Flexible intelligence must develop. Language, manipulation, social learning, and cumulative culture must overlap. Technology must then produce a signature detectable across interstellar distances. Perhaps most of these steps are easy. Perhaps life discovers many alternative pathways unavailable in Earth's history. But if several steps are rare, multiplying them together can produce an extremely small final number. A galaxy with billions of habitable worlds might then contain many microbial planets, a few complex biospheres, and perhaps only one technological civilization at the present time. This is one possible form of the Great Filter. The filter would not need to be one sudden barrier. It could be a long sequence of moderately unlikely transitions. Each stage narrows the population. Many planets begin with water. Fewer begin life. Fewer develop complex cells. Fewer maintain suitable conditions for large organisms. Fewer produce intelligence. Fewer produce technology. Fewer remain detectable during the same period that another civilization is listening. By the final stage, the galaxy may appear silent even if no single transition is nearly impossible. The idea remains speculative. Earth provides only one evolutionary history. Researchers cannot count how often eukaryogenesis, complex multicellularity, intelligence, or technology occurs on other worlds. Some supposedly rare transitions may prove common once a second biosphere is studied. Multicellularity, for example, has evolved independently multiple times on Earth, and simple multicellular forms can emerge comparatively quickly under selection. Intelligence-related abilities also appear across several animal groups. These repetitions suggest that evolution is capable of revisiting useful solutions. But repetition of parts does not guarantee repetition of the full sequence. The universe may repeatedly produce cells that cooperate. It may repeatedly produce animals that learn. Yet a civilization capable of revealing itself between stars may still require an unusual meeting of biology, environment, and culture. The evidence for this remains the same quiet observation. Earth has produced vast biological diversity. It has produced many intelligent behaviors. It has produced only one known technological lineage. And even that lineage became detectable only during a tiny final interval of planetary history. If Earth were observed throughout most of its lifetime, it would appear silent to a search for technology. For billions of years, it was inhabited but not communicative. This changes the meaning of an empty radio sky. Another world may be alive without producing a signal. It may be complex without producing a signal. It may contain minds without producing a signal. The silence does not prove that such worlds are absent, but it shows how narrow the final detectable stage may be. Perhaps humanity is alone only in technology. Perhaps it is alone only at this moment. Perhaps microbial life is common while intelligence rarely develops. Or perhaps every threshold, from the first cell onward, is difficult. The present evidence cannot distinguish these possibilities. It can only show that Earth's path was long. There were no shortcuts. A simple cell did not become an astronomer through one smooth rise. It passed through partnerships, planetary transformation, multicellular cooperation, nervous systems, social learning, language, culture, and tools. Every stage depended upon earlier stages remaining intact. The full journey occupied nearly the entire age of the planet. If even one transition had failed, Earth might still be inhabited. Its oceans might remain rich with microbes. Its continents might carry forests or unfamiliar animals. Yet nothing would be listening to the stars. The universe may contain many such worlds. Worlds where biology began, but never became complex. Worlds where complexity flourished, but never became technological. Worlds where intelligence appeared in the sea and remained beneath the waves. Worlds whose inhabitants looked across their landscapes without ever discovering electricity. They would not make the universe lifeless. They would make technological awareness rare. And if the earlier transitions are rare as well, then Earth's living history may be one thin path through a vast field of paths that quietly ended elsewhere. For now, no second path is known. The origin of complex cells appears singular within the terrestrial record. Complex multicellularity appeared only in a limited collection of lineages. Human technological culture appeared once. These observations are not proof that the same transitions fail on every other world. They are reminders that possibility is not inevitability. Life can begin without becoming complex. Complexity can appear without becoming intelligent. Intelligence can exist without becoming visible across space. At every stage, the universe may narrow, and at the end of that narrowing, there may be one small planet whose organisms learn to preserve knowledge, control light, and wonder why no other world has answered. A living world may require more than the right beginning. It may require a long period in which very little goes completely wrong. Life needs time to become established. Complex life needs even more time. Intelligence may need billions of years during which oceans, atmosphere, geology, and climate remain within workable limits. The universe does not remain still during this interval. Stars brighten, orbits change, asteroids collide, planetary interiors cool, atmospheres escape. Nearby stars end their lives and release energy into surrounding space. Most of these events are natural parts of cosmic evolution. They create new elements, shape planetary systems, and help build future worlds. But for a developing biosphere, timing matters. A planet may be habitable for millions of years and still provide too little time for complex organisms to appear. Another may remain suitable for billions of years, allowing evolution to build increasingly elaborate systems. The difference may not be visible in a single photograph. Two planets can both possess liquid water today, while carrying very different histories. One may have maintained oceans since its formation. The other may be passing through a brief mild interval before becoming frozen or dry again. Life does not experience only the present condition. It experiences the continuity of the condition. This continuity may be one of Earth's most important features. The planet has changed many times. Continents have assembled and separated. Oceans have opened and closed. Ice has spread toward the equator. Warm climates have reached the polar regions. Yet some liquid water has persisted. Some organisms have survived. The biosphere has never been completely erased. A stable world does not need to remain unchanging. It needs to change without losing every refuge. Earth's survival, through repeated disruption, may reflect the resilience of life after it becomes widespread. It may also reflect a fortunate balance between events that reshape the planet and events large enough to remove every living system. A world receiving stronger or more frequent disruptions might not preserve that balance. The earliest life could disappear before becoming established. Complex organisms might repeatedly emerge and vanish. Evolution could begin the same climb many times without reaching intelligence. Stellar activity creates one possible limitation. Stars are not perfect lamps. They possess magnetic fields, sunspots, flares, and streams of charged particles. Young stars are often more active than older ones. Flares can release ultraviolet and X-ray radiation. Coronal mass ejections send clouds of charged material outward. When these events reach a planet, they interact with the upper atmosphere and magnetic environment. A thick atmosphere can absorb much of the high-energy radiation before it reaches the surface. Oceans, soil, rock, and ice provide further protection. Microorganisms beneath the surface may remain safe even when the sky above them becomes chemically active, but repeated stellar activity can slowly change a planet. High-energy light can split atmospheric molecules. Hydrogen can escape into space. The upper atmosphere can heat and expand, making additional gases easier to lose. This is especially important for small planets or worlds orbiting close to their stars. Many potentially temperate exoplanets orbit red dwarfs. Because these stars are faint, their habitable zones lie nearby. A planet may receive the correct average warmth, while also experiencing frequent flares. Some red dwarfs remain active for billions of years. A young planet around such a star may lose water before the star settles into a quieter stage. The world could later occupy a comfortable temperature range while already being dry. From a distance, its orbit might look promising. Its history might have removed the possibility long ago. Not every red dwarf planet must follow this path. A planet with a massive atmosphere may survive. A deep ocean could preserve water. Volcanic activity might replace gases. A magnetic field may reduce some atmospheric loss. The balance depends upon planetary mass, atmospheric chemistry, stellar activity, and the timing of each process. This uncertainty is central to the search. Red dwarfs are abundant. If their planets can retain atmospheres and water, the number of possible habitats becomes enormous. If most lose them early, the galaxy's most common stars may contribute fewer living worlds than simple counts suggest. The Sun followed a comparatively gentle path during the later history of complex life. It still produces energetic events, but Earth orbits far enough away, possesses a substantial atmosphere, and carries a magnetic field that guides many charged particles around the planet. Life also occupies protected environments. The deep ocean barely notices a solar flare. Organisms within rock receive additional shielding. Earth's protection is layered. No one layer is perfect. Together, they reduce the effect of stellar activity upon the whole biosphere. A planet without these layers may still support life underground. It may preserve microbes within caves or beneath ice, but a surface rich with complex organisms may require a longer period of atmospheric and climatic shelter. This creates another narrowing. Life may exist. Complex surface life may not. The galaxy could contain hidden biospheres that never spread into sunlight. Stars also become brighter as they age. The Sun now emits more energy than it did early in Earth's history. This increase is gradual, but it matters across billions of years. A planet that begins comfortably within a star's habitable zone does not remain under identical illumination forever. Its atmosphere and geology must adjust. Early Earth likely required stronger greenhouse warming, because the young sun was fainter. Carbon dioxide, methane, and other gases helped maintain liquid water. As the sun brightened, long-term carbon removal reduced some of this warming. The planet changed with the star. This adjustment was not planned. It emerged from weathering, oceans, volcanism, biological activity, and the cycling of carbon between atmosphere and rock. If these feedbacks had been weaker, Earth might have frozen early or warmed too strongly later. A planet around another star may begin with the correct temperature, but lack the internal systems needed to follow the star's evolution. Its habitable period could be brief. A few 100 million years may allow microbial life to appear. It may not allow complex life to transform the atmosphere, develop multicellular bodies, and eventually produce intelligence. Earth received several billion years. This long interval may be more important than any one moment of perfect climate. The end of a star's stable lifetime creates another boundary. Massive stars burn brightly but briefly. They may live only millions of years before leaving the main sequence. Planet formation can occur around them, but their short lifetimes provide little time for a history resembling Earth's. Sun-like stars live for billions of years. Small red dwarfs can continue far longer. The universe therefore offers stars with very different biological clocks. A world may contain water, while its star provides too little time. Another may have immense future time, but face a difficult beginning. The most favorable stars may occupy a middle region. They must live long enough. They must not change too quickly. They must emit useful energy without removing the planet's atmosphere. Even then, the planet must remain in a suitable orbit. Orbits appear regular, but planetary systems are shaped by gravity from many bodies at once. A planet's path can change gradually. Nearby planets can pull upon one another, Large worlds can migrate through a young system. Close stellar companions can alter long-term stability. Some systems settle into quiet arrangements. Others experience collisions or ejections. Astronomers have found planets with highly stretched orbits. Such worlds move close to their stars and then travel far away. Their seasons may be extreme. A planet could experience intense warming during one portion of its year and deep cooling during another. An atmosphere or ocean may soften these changes, but a sufficiently eccentric orbit can create climate instability difficult for complex ecosystems to tolerate. Earth's orbit is nearly circular. Its distance from the Sun changes only modestly across the year. The planet's axial tilt creates the familiar seasons, while oceans and atmosphere distribute heat. This arrangement is not the only one capable of supporting life. It is one that provides relative regularity. Earth's orbit also changes slowly over long periods through cycles in eccentricity, tilt, and orientation. These variations influence ice ages and climate patterns. They reshape habitats without usually destroying global habitability. A different system could produce much larger variations. The planet might repeatedly leave the range in which surface water remains stable. Life beneath the surface could survive. A complex surface biosphere might struggle to remain continuous. Impacts create another part of planetary history. The young solar system contained large amounts of leftover material. Asteroids and comets frequently struck the forming planets. Some impacts delivered water and carbon-bearing compounds. Others melted rock, altered atmospheres, and changed surface conditions. Impacts are therefore neither purely helpful nor purely destructive. They transport material. They open hydrothermal systems. They create new environments within fractured rock. They can also remove existing ecosystems. Earth's largest known mass extinctions were not all caused by impacts, but one major event around 66 million years ago followed the collision of a large asteroid. Dust and aerosols changed the climate. Food chains were interrupted. Many species disappeared, yet the planet remained alive. The impact was not large enough to sterilize the oceans, deep crust, and every protected environment. Microorganisms survived. Small animals survived. Plants returned. The biosphere eventually rebuilt itself in new forms. This event demonstrates how difficult it may be to eliminate life once it becomes widely distributed. It also shows how easily complex ecosystems can be reorganized. A world with larger or more frequent impacts could repeatedly remove its most elaborate organisms. The biosphere might remain microbial for most of its history. Each time complex life expanded, another collision could reduce it again. The number of asteroids crossing a planet's orbit depends partly upon the arrangement of the planetary system. Giant planets shape reservoirs of smaller objects. Their gravity can eject comets, capture them, or redirect them inward. No simple rule states that a Jupiter-like planet always protects an Earth-like world. The same giant planet can reduce some risks while creating others. The useful configuration may depend upon distance, mass, orbital shape, and the location of belts containing leftover material. Earth's impact history may therefore reflect another particular arrangement. Enough small bodies arrived to contribute material. Not enough large bodies arrived late enough to erase the biosphere completely. The planet remained active but inhabited. Volcanism creates a similar balance. Volcanoes release carbon dioxide, water vapor, sulfur compounds, and other gases. They help replenish atmospheres and cycle material from the interior to the surface. On early Earth, volcanic activity contributed to the atmosphere from which later climate systems developed. Hydrothermal environments associated with volcanism may also have supported important prebiotic chemistry, or early organisms. But very large eruptions can alter climate. Sulfur-rich aerosols can reflect sunlight and produce cooling over shorter periods. Carbon dioxide can contribute warming over longer periods. Enormous volcanic provinces can continue erupting for hundreds of thousands of years, changing ocean chemistry and atmospheric composition. Several mass extinctions are associated with such events. Once again, the process that supports habitability can also interrupt it. A completely geologically inactive planet may fail to recycle important material. A highly active planet may experience frequent environmental disruption. Earth occupies a changing middle. Its interior remains warm enough to drive volcanism and plate movement. Yet large eruptions are separated by long intervals during which ecosystems can recover and diversify. Planetary size strongly affects this balance. A small world loses internal heat more quickly. Its volcanism and magnetic activity may decline. A very large rocky planet may remain geologically active for longer, but its gravity can support a thick atmosphere. High pressures and deep oceans may create environments unlike Earth's. More mass does not automatically mean greater habitability. A super-Earth may possess powerful geological activity and retain air well. It may also gather a dense hydrogen envelope during formation and become more like a small Neptune than a larger Earth. Its ocean could extend hundreds of kilometers downward. At extreme depths, water forms high-pressure ice even when the temperature remains warm. This ice can separate the liquid ocean from the rocky seafloor. Without contact between water and rock, some chemical cycles important to terrestrial life may become limited. The planet would contain more water than Earth while offering fewer opportunities for minerals and ocean chemistry to interact. An ocean world can therefore possess abundance without variety. Earth contains oceans, continents, shallow seas, coastlines, rivers, wetlands, deserts, and deep rock. These environments exchange material. Weather erodes continents. Rivers deliver minerals to the sea. Tides create wet and dry cycles. Volcanism brings material upward. A completely water-covered planet may lack some of these cycles. This does not make life impossible. Hydrothermal activity could still provide energy. Floating organisms could occupy the upper ocean. Atmospheric chemistry could supply useful material. But the pathways toward complex life may differ. A planet with very little water faces the opposite limitation. Small lakes and subsurface reservoirs may support organisms, but a restricted biosphere can remain vulnerable to climate change. Earth's water inventory may occupy another useful middle. Enough water exists to regulate climate and support global ecosystems. Enough land remains exposed to weathering, biological diversity, and repeated exchanges between wet and dry environments. The balance could be common. It could also depend upon how much water Earth received and retained during formation. Atmospheric composition introduces further sensitivity. Carbon dioxide warms a planet. Too little may allow global freezing. Too much may produce extreme surface conditions. Methane can provide additional warming, especially on a young planet. Water vapor strengthens warming as temperatures rise. Clouds can cool by reflecting starlight or warm by trapping infrared energy. Their effect depends on altitude, thickness, droplet size, and location. A small change in one part of the climate can influence several others. Ice reflects more light than ocean. If cooling creates more ice, the planet absorbs less energy and cools further. This feedback can help spread glaciation. Water vapor creates an opposite feedback. Warming allows more water to enter the atmosphere. Additional vapor traps more heat, strengthening the warming. Long-term stability requires other processes to counter these tendencies. Earth's climate has moved toward both cold and warm states without remaining permanently trapped in either. The planet recovered from periods of extensive glaciation. It avoided a lasting runaway greenhouse like the one associated with Venus. These recoveries may reflect the carbon cycle, geography, ocean circulation, volcanic gases, and biological activity. A planet missing one part of this network could cross a threshold from which recovery becomes difficult. Climate thresholds may help explain why apparently similar planets diverge. At one moment, both worlds may contain oceans. A small difference in sunlight or atmosphere may push one toward a stable warm state and the other toward continuous ice. Over time, the contrast grows. The planets cease to resemble each other. This may be why Earth and Venus, despite similar sizes, followed different paths. It may also be why identifying an Earth-sized planet provides only the beginning of habitability analysis. A world's climate is not determined by diameter alone. Cosmic events beyond the planetary system can also influence habitability. Supernovae occur when certain stars end their lives in powerful explosions. These events create and disperse heavy elements. The calcium in bones, the iron in blood, and many elements within rocky planets were produced or distributed through earlier generations of stars. Without stellar endings, the material required for life would be far less abundant. Yet a nearby supernova can expose a planet to increased high-energy radiation and cosmic rays. The effects depend strongly upon distance. Far away, the event becomes a beautiful point of light with little biological influence. Closer events could alter atmospheric chemistry, including ozone that protects a surface from ultraviolet radiation. Earth's geological record contains isotopes suggesting that supernovas occurred within a few hundred light-years during the recent geological past. Life continued. This suggests that moderately nearby events need not erase a biosphere, but denser stellar environments may experience such events more often. A planet close to the center of a galaxy or within a crowded star-forming region could face a different history. Gamma-ray bursts release concentrated beams of high-energy radiation. They are rare and often occur at enormous distances. A burst directed toward a nearby inhabited planet could alter its atmosphere. No evidence shows that such an event caused a known terrestrial extinction, although researchers have explored the possibility. The uncertainty remains considerable. The broader lesson is simpler. A planet does not exist in isolation. Its habitability depends partly upon its neighborhood within the galaxy. The Milky Way's center contains a high density of stars and energetic events. Its outer regions contain fewer heavy elements, particularly in earlier eras. Between these regions may lie a broad range where rocky planets form readily and extreme cosmic events occur less often. This proposed galactic habitable zone does not possess sharp borders. Stars move, galactic conditions evolve. Life may survive in regions once considered difficult. Still, Earth's location within a comparatively quiet portion of the galactic disk may have contributed to its long continuity. The solar system also moves around the center of the Milky Way. It passes through changing environments over hundreds of millions of years. Nearby stars come and go. Molecular clouds drift through the galaxy. Spiral structure changes the local density of gas and young stars. Earth's biological history unfolded within this larger motion. The planet received no permanent shelter. It experienced a sequence of galactic environments that remained compatible with continued life. A different orbit through the galaxy might expose a system to more frequent close stellar encounters. Such encounters can disturb distant reservoirs of comets, sending some inward. They can also alter the outer orbits of planets and smaller bodies. The solar system has probably experienced many stellar passages. Most occurred at safe distances. The system remained intact. This relative isolation may be another ordinary feature of galactic life, or it may contribute quietly to Earth's rarity. Long-term habitability resembles a chain stretched across time. Each link can be common by itself. Stable orbits may be common. Moderate stars may be common. Atmospheres may be common. Oceans may be common. Geological cycling may be common. Quiet galactic neighborhoods may be common. But the same planet may need all of them to continue together for billions of years. A break late in the chain can erase the opportunity created by every earlier success. Life may begin and then disappear. Complex cells may emerge before the atmosphere changes. Animals may diversify before repeated impacts reduce them. Intelligence may develop shortly before the climate window closes. The universe does not need to prevent life everywhere. It needs only to interrupt the path often enough that technological civilizations remain rare. This possibility offers a calm explanation for cosmic silence. Perhaps planets regularly approach life. Some cross the first threshold. Fewer preserve life long enough for complexity. Fewer still provide the uninterrupted time required for intelligence. The galaxy may contain many short biological stories, and very few long ones. Earth's story has been unusually long. The planet formed, cooled, gathered water, and remained active. Life began. The biosphere survived changes in atmosphere, impacts, volcanism, glaciations, and shifting continents. Complex cells appeared. Multicellular organisms developed. Several extinctions rearranged life without ending it. One lineage eventually created technology. Every stage occurred before the sun's gradual brightening closes the surface habitability window. This complete sequence may be ordinary. It may be rare. There is still no second history for comparison. The evidence does not prove that other planets failed. It shows how many opportunities exist for a planetary history to turn elsewhere. A world can become too dry, too cold, too warm, too geologically quiet, too frequently disturbed. Its star can change. Its orbit can shift. Its atmosphere can escape. Its biosphere can remain simple. No single outcome requires an extraordinary event. Ordinary cosmic processes are enough. This makes the possibility of solitude different from the idea of a universe hostile to life. The universe may not oppose biology. It may simply be restless. Stars and planets evolve. Conditions suitable for life open and close. A biosphere needs enough continuity to grow within that motion. Earth found continuity without complete stillness. Its surface changed, but not beyond recovery. Its climate varied, but liquid water remained. Its life suffered losses, but some lineages endured. Perhaps this balance occurs around many stars. Perhaps future telescopes will reveal planets with old oceans, stable atmospheres, and biological gases. But until then, Earth remains the only known world where habitability persisted long enough to become awareness. The silence may therefore contain more than the difficulty of beginning life. It may contain the difficulty of keeping life's opportunity open. Across the galaxy, rain may fall upon young oceans. Microbes may briefly gather beneath alien skies. Then the star brightens. The atmosphere thins. The oceans freeze. The world continues on another path. Nothing has gone wrong from the perspective of astronomy. The planet remains beautiful. Its clouds still move. Its mountains still rise and erode. Only the biological story has ended before anything could look outward. Earth's distinction may be less about perfection than duration. It remains suitable long enough. Long enough for chemistry to become inheritance. Long enough for cells to become partnerships. Long enough for organisms to reshape the atmosphere. Long enough for ecosystems to recover. Long enough for intelligence to appear near the end of an ancient chain. If this duration is uncommon, the universe can contain countless habitable moments without containing many inhabited civilizations. A moment is not enough. Life needs a world that continues. And among the stars, the rarest planetary resource may not be water, carbon, or energy. It may simply be time. The galaxy does not appear to contain an obvious technological civilization. No verified message has crossed a radio telescope. No artificial laser has repeated from another planetary system. No nearby star has revealed a structure that can only be explained as engineering. No atmospheric pollutant has been confirmed as the product of alien industry. Nature continues to explain every observation strongly enough to prevent a declaration of contact. Stars pulse. Planets pass through starlight. Dust absorbs visible energy and releases infrared warmth. Magnetized stellar remnants send regular signals across immense distances. Human transmitters create interference inside the same instruments searching for something beyond humanity. After decades of listening, the sky remains technologically unconfirmed. No convincing evidence of advanced extraterrestrial technology has yet been detected. Modern searches now include radio transmissions, laser pulses, atmospheric chemicals, unusual energy use, and possible large orbiting structures. This silence is not proof that no civilization exists, but it is the central observation behind the argument that humanity may be alone. A technological civilization can leave traces across distances far greater than the movement of its organisms. Radio waves travel through space at the speed of light. Lasers can concentrate energy into narrow beams. Large-scale energy use can alter the visible and infrared appearance of a planetary system. A society does not need to visit Earth to become detectable. It only needs to arrange matter or energy in a pattern that nature does not easily create. Humanity already does this on a small scale. Powerful radar beams leave Earth. Spacecraft transmit between planets. Artificial chemicals enter the atmosphere. Satellites form moving structures around the planet. From a sufficient distance, most of this activity would be extremely faint, yet a society with more powerful transmitters or greater energy use could create a stronger signature. If advanced civilizations were widespread, long-lived, and energetically visible, some researchers expect that at least one might eventually appear within astronomical observations. None has. The silence becomes more interesting because the Milky Way is ancient. The galaxy formed long before the Sun. Many stars and planetary systems are billions of years older than Earth. If intelligence appeared on some of those worlds, it could have received an enormous head start. A civilization 1 million years older than humanity would not simply possess more advanced versions of present machines. Its history would be longer than the entire period separating modern humans from many early members of the human evolutionary lineage. A civilization 1 billion years older would be separated from humanity by a span difficult to imagine culturally or technologically. Its abilities, motivations, and physical form might bear little resemblance to anything on Earth. Yet age alone does not guarantee survival or expansion. A civilization may remain local. It may become quieter. It may abandon technologies visible across space. It may disappear before another society begins listening. Still, the age of the galaxy creates room for many possibilities to have unfolded. The fact that none has become unmistakable is the heart of the Fermi paradox. A vast and old galaxy appears capable of producing civilizations, while observation has revealed no confirmed example. One possible explanation is that technological civilizations are extremely rare. The path toward technology may contain more difficult stages than planet counts suggest. Life must begin. Complex cells must emerge. Multicellular organisms may need to develop. Some lineage must gain flexible intelligence, communication, precise manipulation, and cumulative culture. It must discover how to control substantial energy. It must build instruments capable of producing detectable signals. Then it must remain detectable, while another civilization possesses the ability and willingness to search. Every additional requirement reduces the number of successful worlds. A galaxy could contain thousands of microbial biospheres and still produce no radio signal. It could contain intelligent animals that never build machines. It could contain technological societies whose detectable periods last only a few centuries. The final stage may be brief even when the earlier stages are common. Earth illustrates this narrow interval. The planet has contained life for billions of years. It has produced strong artificial radio signals for only a small part of 1 century. Most of Earth's biological history passed without any observer around another star being able to detect terrestrial technology through radio leakage. If another civilization had examined the solar system during the age of the dinosaurs, it would have found a living planet but no radio society. If it looked during most of the age of mammals, the result would have been the same. Technological detectability occupies a thin layer of time. Two civilizations can exist within the same galaxy, but fail to overlap. One may become silent 10,000 years before the other begins listening. Their planets could lie relatively close in astronomical terms, yet their technological histories would never meet. The galaxy may therefore be separated by time as strongly as it is separated by distance. Imagine a dark coastline, where distant lighthouses shine for only 1 minute every 1,000 years. Many lighthouses could exist. An observer watching briefly may still see none. This possibility weakens the meaning of present silence, but it also reveals how rare detectable companionship may be. Even if intelligence has appeared elsewhere, humanity may be effectively alone during its own short moment. The lifetime of a civilization's detectable technology is one of the greatest unknowns in the search. A society might broadcast powerful signals for millions of years. It might also become radio quiet soon after developing efficient communication. Broad radio broadcasts waste energy by sending information in every direction. More advanced systems may rely on cables, focused beams, low-power networks, or communication methods that release little energy into space. Earth itself is moving partly in this direction. Many communications travel through fiber optic cables or narrow satellite links, rather than powerful broadcasts spreading evenly toward the stars. A distant observer searching for unintentional radio leakage might therefore find mature technological societies less visible than young ones. Progress may not make a civilization louder. It may make it quieter. A society could still be detected through deliberate beacons, but a beacon requires motivation. Its builders must choose to spend energy announcing themselves. They must select frequencies, directions, timing, and message structures. They may transmit toward planets already suspected of containing life, rather than toward the entire sky. Earth would receive such a beam only if it happened to lie in the chosen direction. The transmitter may operate for minutes each year. It may point toward Earth only once during a long survey of nearby systems. A narrow beam can travel efficiently across great distances, but its precision makes accidental interception unlikely. The more advanced the communication becomes, the smaller its unnecessary leakage may be. This creates a strange possibility. The galaxy could contain advanced civilizations whose technology is almost invisible because it is controlled too carefully. Yet some forms of energy use may remain difficult to hide. Every machine releases waste heat. Energy can be transformed into motion, computation, light, or chemical change, but not every part can remain useful forever. Some ultimately spreads into the environment as thermal radiation. A sufficiently energetic civilization might therefore produce excess infrared light. The idea is often associated with structures surrounding a star. A society seeking enormous amounts of energy could construct many collectors in orbit. Rather than building one rigid shell, it might create a swarm of independent structures. These collectors would absorb some starlight. After using the energy, they would release waste heat at longer wavelengths. From a distance, the star could appear unusually faint in visible light and unusually bright in infrared. Astronomers have searched for such patterns. Dust produces a similar effect. It absorbs visible and ultraviolet energy and re-radiates it as infrared warmth. Young stars, dying stars, planetary collisions, and dusty galaxies can therefore resemble some proposed technological signatures. Every candidate requires careful comparison with these natural sources. So far, no large engineering project has been confirmed. The absence of obvious stellar engineering may place limits on the most expansive possibilities. If civilizations routinely surrounded entire stars with energy collectors, astronomical surveys might have noticed some of them. If societies commonly altered large fractions of their galaxies, their influence could become visible across cosmic distances. Galaxies contain hundreds of billions of stars. A civilization spreading for millions of years might build machines around many of them. The combined heat could change the galaxy's spectrum. No galaxy has been confirmed as a vast technological construction. Most follow patterns explained by stars, gas, dust, black holes, and ordinary galactic evolution. This does not rule out smaller civilizations. A society, using only a modest amount of its star's energy, could remain hidden within natural variation. It may have no reason to expand continuously. It may value efficiency, stability, or local environments more than growth. Human ideas about endless expansion may reflect one period of one species rather than a universal tendency. Technology does not determine desire. A civilization capable of crossing the stars may simply choose not to fill them. Another possibility is that expansion is much harder than simplified models suggest. The distance between stars is immense. The nearest stellar system lies more than 4 light-years from the Sun. Even light needs more than 4 years to complete the journey. Present spacecraft would need thousands of years to cross a similar distance. Faster travel is physically possible below the speed of light, but the engineering demands increase greatly. A fast spacecraft must carry or receive enormous energy. It must survive radiation, internal failures, and collisions with interstellar dust. At high velocity, a tiny grain can strike with tremendous force. Machines must operate far from maintenance. Living travelers need shielding, food, water, and stable ecosystems. A voyage lasting centuries would require generations to live and die aboard the same moving habitat. Self-repairing robotic probes may be more practical. A machine could travel to a star, use local material to build copies, and send those copies onward. In principle, repeated replication could spread through the galaxy over time, but no such machine has been observed. The idea assumes that construction from unfamiliar planetary material is possible, that errors do not accumulate, and that a civilization chooses to release autonomous replicators across interstellar space. Each assumption may be reasonable. None has been demonstrated. The galaxy's silence may therefore reflect technological limits rather than biological absence. Stars are reachable according to known physics. Reachable does not mean easy. A civilization could become highly advanced while remaining bound to one planetary system. The solar system itself contains enormous resources. Asteroids provide metals. The outer planets and moons contain water, gases, and chemical materials. Solar energy is abundant near the Sun. A civilization may find no practical reason to cross the void when one system offers space for expansion over millions of years. It could build habitats, computers, and energy collectors close to home. Its influence might become large locally while remaining almost invisible from Earth. A civilization confined to one system produces a small target. The Milky Way contains an enormous number of systems. Searchers must examine each direction, frequency, and moment with sufficient sensitivity. Modern SETI programs have greatly expanded this effort. Breakthrough Listen is designed to survey 1 million nearby stars, the galactic plane, the center of the Milky Way, and nearby galaxies across radio and optical wavelengths. Its observations have examined thousands of stars and produced immense collections of data, yet no confirmed technosignature has emerged. 1 million stars is an extraordinary scientific survey. Within the Milky Way, however, it is still a small fraction of the full stellar population. The search also contains more dimensions than the number of targets suggests. A telescope must select a frequency. Radio waves occupy a vast range. A transmitter could operate within a narrow channel anywhere across that range. The signal may drift because its planet rotates and orbits. It may appear only in short pulses. It may repeat every second, every year, or once during a civilization's lifetime. It may be polarized in a particular way. Its strength may fall below the telescope's sensitivity. It may be aimed elsewhere. A search must therefore cover direction, frequency, bandwidth, signal shape, time, repetition, polarization, and power. Optical searches add additional wavelengths and pulse durations. Infrared searches add temperatures and spatial patterns. Atmospheric searches add possible industrial gases. Every new category enlarges the space that must be examined. The cosmic search has often been compared to sampling an ocean. A glass of seawater containing no fish does not prove the ocean contains none. It tells only that no fish occupied that glass at that moment. Present technosignature searches have sampled many glasses with increasing care. They have not surveyed the whole ocean. Still, each search removes some possibilities. A sensitive observation of a nearby star can show that no continuously transmitting beacon above a certain power was present within the observed frequency range at that time. A survey of many stars can constrain how common that exact type of transmitter is. Infrared studies can reduce the likelihood of civilizations using nearly all of their star's energy in obvious ways. No result proves universal solitude. Together, results gradually shape the silence. The galaxy does not appear filled with powerful continuous radio beacons. It does not appear filled with easily visible stellar engineering. It does not appear to contain nearby civilizations deliberately broadcasting strong signals toward Earth during the periods examined. The louder possibilities are beginning to narrow. Quieter possibilities remain almost unlimited. The nature of radio interference also demonstrates how difficult a genuine detection will be. Human technology fills the radio spectrum. Satellites circle overhead. Aircraft transmit navigation data. Ground stations, mobile networks, observatory electronics, and distant communication systems enter telescope observations. A signal may initially appear to arrive from a star. Later analysis may reveal that it occurs in several directions or matches a known human frequency. Earth's moving technology can imitate the drift expected from a transmitter on another planet. Reflections can create temporary signals. Several ordinary frequencies can combine inside electronics to produce a new one that looks unusual. Millions of detections may need to be filtered before one candidate receives serious attention. This noisy environment creates two opposing risks. Researchers may mistake human technology for alien technology. They may also filter too aggressively and remove a real signal that resembles ordinary interference. Search methods must become both skeptical and open. Machine learning helps examine patterns that older algorithms may overlook. Some analyses have applied artificial intelligence to observations of hundreds of stars and identified several signals of interest among millions of detections. Follow-up observations did not detect those candidates again. They remained unconfirmed. The result was still valuable because it demonstrated that new analysis can reveal patterns hidden within old information. A genuine signal may already exist within an archive. Perhaps it was too weak. Perhaps it appeared during only one observation. Perhaps software classified it incorrectly. Future algorithms may revisit the same data and notice something earlier searches missed. This possibility makes current silence provisional. The instruments have listened. Humanity has not necessarily learned how to hear every signal they collected. Even a genuine transmission may become distorted while crossing space. Interstellar plasma can scatter radio waves. Motion changes their frequencies. Natural noise can weaken patterns. A message designed for a receiver with different assumptions may appear meaningless. Its structure might not resemble human communication. People often imagine an alien signal as a clear sequence of prime numbers or a message translated almost immediately. Another civilization may organize information in ways that are not obvious to human analysis. A highly compressed signal can resemble noise unless the decoding method is known. Encryption deliberately removes recognizable patterns. An advanced communication system could appear statistically random to an unintended observer. Humanity may be searching not only for a faint voice, but for a voice whose language, channel, and basic definition of a message are all unknown. Artificial signals could also lie outside ordinary radio and light. Civilizations may communicate using neutrinos, gravitational effects, or physical probes. Some possibilities are far less practical with present technology, but unknown societies are not limited by present human engineering. Science must begin with methods that known physics and available instruments can test. Radio and lasers are sensible because they can cross interstellar distances and can be produced deliberately. Failure to find them does not rule out every form of technology. It rules out only the forms covered by the observations. Physical artifacts offer another path. A civilization may send probes rather than signals. A small machine could enter a planetary system and observe quietly. It might remain in a stable orbit, rest upon an asteroid, or cease functioning long before its discovery. The solar system is vast. Human spacecraft have examined only tiny portions of most worlds. Many asteroids remain poorly mapped. Distant regions beyond Neptune contain countless objects. An artifact could be difficult to distinguish from natural rock unless its shape, motion, material, or emissions were clearly artificial. No verified extraterrestrial artifact has been found. Unidentified observations remain unresolved because of limited information, not because an alien origin has been established. This absence matters differently from radio silence. A radio signal can miss Earth. A civilization spreading physical probes widely might leave longer-lasting evidence. A transmitter ends when the machine stops. An artifact could remain for millions of years if it occupies a stable environment and resists damage. The lack of known artifacts in the solar system may therefore argue against civilizations having filled the galaxy with durable probes. But the search is incomplete. Most small objects have not been inspected closely. A probe may be tiny. It may resemble natural material deliberately or accidentally. It may have entered the solar system and departed before humans developed instruments. Once again, the quiet evidence points without concluding. The absence of probes is real. The completeness of the search is not. Civilizations may also choose isolation. Contact between societies separated by enormous differences in age and power could carry risks. A civilization may avoid broadcasting until it understands its surroundings. It may observe quietly. It may follow rules against interfering with younger worlds. It may consider communication unnecessary or ethically complicated. These ideas are sometimes grouped into hypotheses resembling a cosmic reserve or zoo. They are difficult to test. Any silence can be explained by suggesting that hidden observers choose silence. A hypothesis that explains every possible observation may predict very little. Science therefore treats such possibilities cautiously. They cannot be excluded. They also cannot transform silence into evidence of hidden company. The simplest interpretation of a sky without signals remains that no detectable signal has been found. The reason remains open. Another possibility is that civilizations commonly lose their detectable technology. This idea is often framed dramatically, but it does not require sudden catastrophe. A society may decline gradually. Populations may shrink. Infrastructure may become difficult to maintain. Cultural priorities may shift away from space. Environmental change may limit available energy. Technology may become more efficient and less visible. A civilization can disappear as a techno-signature, while its descendants continue living. Even extinction need not erase all evidence immediately. Satellites may remain in orbit. Structures may persist on airless moons. Atmospheric pollutants may linger. Waste heat ends quickly when energy use ends, while artifacts could survive much longer. Searches for past technology therefore differ from searches for active transmitters. A silent planet may once have held a civilization. Its atmosphere could return gradually toward natural equilibrium. Cities could erode. Satellites could fall. Geological activity could bury surfaces. After millions of years, little may remain visible across interstellar space. The galaxy could contain many extinct technological histories, without containing one civilization currently able to answer. This would make humanity neither the first nor permanently unique. It would still make it alone now. Temporal loneliness may be the most plausible form of cosmic solitude. The universe is old, but civilizations may occupy brief intervals. Their signals move outward as expanding shells. A signal transmitted 1,000 years ago now occupies a spherical region centered upon its star. Inside the shell, it has already passed. Outside the shell, it has not yet arrived. Earth can detect it only while the shell crosses the solar system. A continuous transmission creates a thicker region. A brief message creates a thin one. The Milky Way may contain many such shells moving through different places and times. Most never cross Earth while a telescope is listening. The silence then reflects geometry rather than emptiness. Yet this explanation requires civilizations to exist without producing signals humanity has encountered. It preserves possibility. It does not provide evidence. All proposed explanations for the Fermi paradox share this limitation. Civilizations may be rare. They may be brief. They may be quiet. They may use unfamiliar technology. They may avoid expansion. They may exist beneath the sensitivity of present instruments. Each explanation is physically or socially possible. None has been confirmed because no civilization is available for study. The paradox is therefore not solved by choosing the most comforting or dramatic story. It remains a structured expression of ignorance. The galaxy is large enough for many civilizations. The observations reveal none. Something within the assumptions, probabilities, or search methods must explain the difference. The solitude argument chooses the most direct possibility. Perhaps no one is there. Perhaps life almost never begins. Perhaps complex intelligence emerged only once in the Milky Way. Perhaps Earth is the first technological world to appear, or the only one to survive into this moment. This explanation requires no hidden civilizations and no unknown communication system. It takes the silence at face value. Its strength is simplicity. Its weakness is the incompleteness of the search. A silent room may be empty. It may also contain someone standing beyond a closed door. Before the door is opened, both possibilities remain. Humanity has opened only a small number of doors. Radio searches have examined selected regions and frequencies. Optical searches have watched selected stars. Infrared surveys have ruled out some large and obvious uses of energy. The newest programs continue expanding the search through all-sky monitors, broader frequency coverage, improved algorithms, and additional observatories. Every expansion creates a clearer test. If powerful civilizations are common, better searches should eventually encounter one. If the search grows across generations while every candidate remains natural or human, estimates of technological abundance will decline. Silence becomes stronger evidence only when listening becomes comprehensive. That process has begun. It is nowhere near complete. For now, the sky offers a strange balance. The absence of a signal cannot prove humanity is alone. Yet a confirmed signal could disprove solitude in one moment. This asymmetry shapes the entire search. Thousands of silent stars do not produce certainty. One artificial message would. Science must therefore continue accumulating non-detections while remaining prepared for a single decisive exception. The evidence for solitude grows slowly. The evidence against it could arrive suddenly. Until that moment, the Milky Way continues to look like a natural galaxy. Its light comes from stars. Its infrared glow comes from dust. Its radio pulses come from known forms of matter and energy. Its planets move according to gravity. No verified technology alters the picture. Perhaps intelligence is present, but hidden below current sensitivity. Perhaps ancient societies have become quiet. Perhaps messages travel elsewhere. Or perhaps the simplest picture is correct. There are no transmitters because no other world has built one. There are no stellar constructions because no other intelligence has reached that scale. There are no probes because no civilization has crossed the distances between stars. The galaxy may not be silent by choice. It may be silent because Earth is the only place where matter has learned to send a signal. This possibility carries no need for alarm. A quiet galaxy is still filled with activity. Stars form inside cold clouds. Planets gather from disks of dust. Comets travel through distant darkness. Black holes bend light. Galaxies drift and merge. The absence of technology would not make the universe empty. It would make technology rare. The Milky Way would remain an immense natural structure, untouched by intention except within one small system. Around one ordinary star, a species would have built receivers and discovered that the surrounding cosmos does not obviously answer. Its instruments would become more sensitive. Its searches would grow. The silence would continue, or it would finally break. For now, it continues. And among all the sounds made by stars, planets, plasma, and human machines, no second intelligence has yet been heard. The solar system contains several worlds that once appeared almost ready for life. Mars had rivers. Venus may have possessed water. Europa and Enceladus contain oceans beneath ice. Titan carries rich organic chemistry through its atmosphere and across its surface. These places demonstrate that many ingredients associated with life are not unique to Earth. They also reveal a quieter truth. Ingredients can gather without producing a confirmed organism. Mars offers the clearest nearby example. Its ancient surface preserves channels carved by flowing water. Deltas formed where rivers entered lakes. Clay minerals developed through long interaction between rock and liquid. For extended periods, some Martian environments may have been mild enough for microorganisms. Carbon-bearing compounds remain within ancient rocks. Seasonal changes occur in the atmosphere. Small quantities of methane have sometimes been measured near the surface, although their origin and behavior remain uncertain. Mars appears to have possessed water, energy, minerals, and organic chemistry. Yet no confirmed Martian life has been discovered. Rovers have crossed lake beds and sedimentary layers. Landers have examined soil. Orbiters have mapped mineral deposits and searched for gases. Each mission has improved the picture. The planet was once more habitable than it is today. Whether it was ever inhabited remains unanswered. This distinction matters because Mars may represent a natural experiment. Earth and Mars formed near each other from related material. Both received water. Both experienced volcanism and impacts. Both developed atmospheres and surface environments capable of supporting complex chemistry. Earth became alive. Mars may not have. If future samples show that ancient Martian lakes remain sterile, the result would carry deep significance. It would demonstrate that water, carbon, minerals, and time can exist together without biology appearing. One silent planet would not establish a universal rule, but it would weaken the assumption that life begins automatically wherever conditions become favorable. Mars may have offered many opportunities. Its rivers flowed across different regions. Its lakes persisted within craters. Hydrothermal systems may have formed near volcanoes and impacts. Groundwater moved through fractured stone. If none of these environments produced life, the origin may require a narrower combination than habitability alone suggests. The challenge is that Mars does not preserve its history perfectly. Radiation reaches the surface and slowly breaks complex molecules apart. Wind moves dust. Impacts disturb old layers. Water and reactive salts can alter chemical traces. Life might have existed while leaving only faint remains. Current missions examine a small portion of the planet. A rover traveling many kilometers still samples almost nothing compared with an entire world. The absence of a discovery may reflect location rather than biology. Earth offers an analogy. A spacecraft landing in the driest part of Antarctica or the center of a barren desert might struggle to recognize the planet's biological richness. Microorganisms would still exist nearby, but the landing site could appear nearly empty. Mars may conceal its best evidence beneath the surface, inside protected sediments, or within regions no spacecraft has reached. This uncertainty prevents a strong conclusion. Still, every carefully examined Martian environment without a biological signature adds one small piece to the argument. A once habitable planet has not yet revealed that habitability became life. Venus presents a different form of silence. The planet closely resembles Earth in size and bulk composition. Its gravity is strong enough to retain a substantial atmosphere. Its present surface, however, is hidden beneath thick carbon dioxide air and clouds of sulfuric acid. Temperatures remain high enough to melt lead. Venus demonstrates how two similar rocky planets can develop into very different environments. Earth maintained oceans. Venus lost or transformed most of its water. Earth's atmosphere became shaped by oceans, geology, and biology. Venus entered a powerful greenhouse state. Some climate models suggest that early Venus may once have possessed more moderate conditions. Depending on its initial water, atmosphere, rotation, and cloud behavior, liquid water might have remained for a significant period. Other models suggest that Venus could have become hot before stable oceans formed. The planet's early history remains uncertain, because its surface has been extensively renewed by geology. If Venus once held oceans and later lost them, it provides another example of a limited habitable window. Life would have needed to begin before conditions changed. It would then need to adapt or retreat into the atmosphere as the surface warmed. No evidence shows that this occurred. The cloud layers contain regions where temperature and pressure resemble terrestrial conditions more closely than the surface does. But the droplets are extremely acidic, and available water appears very limited. Some terrestrial microorganisms tolerate strong acidity. None is known to flourish under the complete combination present within the Venusian clouds. Possible atmospheric biosignatures have been discussed, but none has become confirmed evidence. Venus remains chemically active and scientifically intriguing. It does not yet appear biologically active. If both Mars and Venus possessed limited periods of habitability without developing life, Earth's history would appear increasingly unusual. 3 neighboring planets shared a young star and related material. Only one would have crossed the biological threshold. The comparison would suggest that a comfortable environment must last long enough, but duration alone may still not be enough. Mars may have had millions or hundreds of millions of suitable years. Venus may have had a different window. Earth's opportunity lasted billions. Perhaps life requires only time. Perhaps Earth also possessed a rare environment that neither neighboring planet reproduced. The icy moons introduce further uncertainty. Europa likely contains a global ocean beneath its frozen crust. Enceladus releases water, salts, organic compounds, molecular hydrogen, and other material from an internal sea. These worlds seem to gather several important requirements. Liquid water exists. Rock may interact with the ocean. Chemical energy may be available. Organic compounds are present. Yet no biological structure has been detected within the sampled material. Cassini passed through Enceladus's plume and measured its chemistry. The spacecraft was not designed with instruments capable of providing a complete search for life. It found ingredients and possible energy sources rather than cells. Future missions may search for complex molecular patterns, unusual isotope ratios, membrane-like structures, or compounds that appear in organized families. For now, the ocean remains only potentially inhabited. Europa's ocean is even less directly sampled. Most evidence comes from gravity, magnetism, surface geology, and material within the ice. The ocean may be rich in chemical energy. It may also be separated from useful surface compounds by many kilometers of frozen water. Radiation from Jupiter alters chemicals on Europa's surface. If fractures or geological movement carry some of that material downward, it could supply the ocean with additional energy. The rate of this exchange remains uncertain. An ocean can exist for billions of years and still lack the full chemistry required for life. Water alone does not organize itself into heredity. Rock-water reactions can provide energy without producing organisms. Enceladus and Europa may therefore become the most important tests of whether long-lived oceans naturally become alive. If future missions study their oceans and find no biological organization, the argument for rarity will grow. Earth's oceans would no longer be one example among many similar living seas. They would be one living sea among several silent ones. Titan offers another planetary laboratory. Its atmosphere continuously produces complex organic material. Methane and nitrogen react under sunlight and energetic particles, creating molecules that drift toward the surface. Lakes and seas of liquid hydrocarbons cover parts of the moon. Water ice forms the solid ground. Impacts may temporarily melt that ice, allowing liquid water to mix with atmospheric organics. Titan therefore contains carbon chemistry on a planetary scale. No organism is needed to create it. This is one of Titan's most important lessons. A world can look chemically rich without being biologically active. It can build complicated molecules, move them through an atmosphere, gather them in sediments, and preserve them over immense periods. From a distance, some of these processes may resemble the early stages of life. Closer examination may reveal only natural chemistry. Titan shows that complexity is not the same as biology. It also suggests that the universe may produce countless worlds where chemistry approaches life without crossing the final boundary. Molecules may become larger, compartments may form, energy-rich reactions may continue. Yet no system begins storing an evolving history. The world remains filled with prebiotic possibility rather than organisms. This possibility matters when astronomers study distant planets. An exoplanet atmosphere may contain water, methane, carbon dioxide, or oxygen. Each gas can be associated with biology on Earth. Each can also be produced without life. Water vapor indicates water. It does not indicate organisms. Methane may come from microorganisms, but it can also form through reactions between water and rock, volcanic processes, impacts, or atmospheric chemistry. Oxygen is strongly linked to photosynthesis on modern Earth. Yet ultraviolet light can separate water or carbon dioxide and allow oxygen to accumulate under certain conditions. A planet may therefore imitate a biosphere. Its atmosphere may contain a gas that looks biological when considered alone. The full environmental context may reveal a non-living explanation. False positives are especially important because the first distant biosignatures will be weak. A telescope does not collect a sample from the planet. It receives light filtered through or reflected by the atmosphere. That light may contain overlapping molecular features. Clouds can hide deeper layers. Stellar activity can alter the signal. Instrumental effects can create patterns that disappear when data are processed differently. A promising molecule may therefore move through several stages. First, one analysis identifies a possible feature. Then other teams examine the same observations. Different atmospheric models are tested. Additional wavelengths are measured. The molecule may become stronger. It may also fade into noise or be replaced by a more ordinary explanation. This process has already occurred with several widely discussed planets. A distant atmosphere can become a symbol of possible life before its basic physical structure is even understood. A world may be described as ocean-bearing, while other models suggest a hot, high-pressure interior. The same spectrum can sometimes support several chemical interpretations. The argument for solitude does not depend on one disputed planet. It depends on a broader pattern. Thousands of exoplanets have been confirmed. A smaller group has been studied atmospherically. No atmosphere has yet provided an unambiguous biological signature. This is expected because current instruments are only beginning to examine small and temperate worlds. Most atmospheric observations focus on large planets because they produce stronger signals. The sample is too limited to establish how common living atmospheres are. Still, the record remains empty. Astronomy has found planets in almost every broad category imaginable. Hot giants circle close to their stars. Rocky worlds complete years in only hours or days. Compact systems contain several planets packed into small regions. Some worlds are hotter than stars. Others drift far from direct warmth. Planetary variety is enormous. Biological conformation remains singular. This contrast may reflect observational difficulty. Life could be widespread, but hidden within worlds too small and faint for current telescopes. It may also reveal that planets are easy for nature to build, while biospheres are not. Gravity gathers material naturally. Disks around young stars form rings, clumps, asteroids, and planets. No biology is required. The universe can therefore create billions of worlds through ordinary physical processes. Life demands a different level of organization. Matter must begin using energy to preserve information and produce descendants. The abundance of planets does not determine the abundance of this transition. A field can contain billions of stones and only one seed. Counting the stones does not reveal how often seeds appear. Earth's atmosphere provides a standard against which distant worlds are often compared. It contains water vapor, oxygen, ozone, methane, carbon dioxide, and many trace gases. Some of these combinations remain far from chemical equilibrium because life continuously renews them. But modern Earth is not representative of Earth throughout most of its history. For billions of years, atmospheric oxygen was low. Methane may have been more abundant during certain periods. Clouds, hazes, and volcanic gases changed over time. A distant observer examining the early Earth could fail to identify it as inhabited. This creates false negatives. A planet may contain life while presenting no obvious biosignature. Microbes beneath the surface may barely affect the atmosphere. An ocean sealed under ice may release nothing into space. A young biosphere may be too small to transform its planet globally. The absence of atmospheric evidence therefore cannot prove the absence of organisms. Yet false negatives strengthen a different form of solitude. They suggest that even if life exists elsewhere, it may remain invisible and isolated. A microbial ocean beneath ice cannot communicate. A sparse underground biosphere does not build telescopes. Humanity could share the galaxy with simple life while remaining alone in every practical sense. There would be no messages, no distant civilizations, no other world able to know that Earth exists. Cosmic solitude does not require every environment to be sterile. It can arise if life rarely progresses beyond hidden cells. The universe may contain biology without companionship. This distinction becomes important when discussing proof. A single microbe found on Mars would disprove the idea that Earth is the only inhabited world. It would not disprove the idea that technological intelligence is extraordinarily rare. A distant oxygen-rich atmosphere would suggest biology. It would not show that any organism there possesses awareness. A repeating artificial message would answer both questions more directly. It would reveal life, intelligence, and technology at once. No such message has appeared. The evidence currently allows several levels of loneliness. Earth may be the only living planet. It may be one of a few living planets. Microbial life may be widespread, while complex life is rare. Complex life may be common while technology is rare. Technological civilizations may have existed but not overlap with humanity. Each version produces a similar present observation. The sky remains unanswered. Only broader searches can separate them. The coming generation of telescopes may begin studying nearby rocky planets in reflected light. They may identify clouds, atmospheric pressure, surface conditions, and chemical mixtures. At first, even this improved view may produce ambiguity. One world may show water but no oxygen. Another may show oxygen with clear non-biological indicators. The most informative result may not be the discovery of life. It may be the discovery that apparently Earth-like orbits contain worlds resembling Mars and Venus far more often than Earth. Current planet catalogues are shaped by detection bias. Large planets and short orbits are easier to find. True Earth analogues around Sun-like stars require years of observation. Their transits are small and infrequent. Many do not cross their stars from Earth's perspective at all. The census of temperate rocky worlds is therefore incomplete. Future missions may reveal many such planets, but their atmospheres will determine whether they resemble Earth only in size and orbit, or also in climate and chemistry. Suppose a future observatory examines 25 nearby potentially habitable worlds. Some are airless, some are frozen, some possess dense greenhouse atmospheres, some contain water, but no chemical disequilibrium. No biosignature survives detailed testing. 25 silent planets would not prove universal solitude. The galaxy contains vastly more than 25, yet the probability of life appearing commonly under Earth-like conditions would begin to decline. A larger survey could eventually transform silence into meaningful statistical evidence. This is how absence becomes scientifically useful. One empty world provides little information. 100 carefully characterized empty worlds provide more. Thousands could reveal a pattern. The search must distinguish worlds that were never habitable from worlds that possessed long-lived favorable conditions. Only the second group tests the origin of life directly. A dry, airless rock cannot reveal whether life begins easily in oceans. A stable planet with water, carbon, energy, and billions of years can. The ideal comparison would be an Earth twin without biology. Such a world may appear blue and cloudy. Its rivers may cross continents. Its atmosphere may contain nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and water vapor. But no oxygen-methane imbalance would persist. No pigments would alter surface reflection. No seasonal biological cycle would appear. Its oceans would circulate beneath empty skies. Finding one would demonstrate that Earth-like conditions do not guarantee Earth-like outcomes. Finding several would make the origin of life appear increasingly rare. Finding none would support the opposite possibility. If almost every old, wet, rocky planet showed signs of biology, life would begin to look like a natural extension of planetary chemistry. The universe has not yet provided the data. For now, Earth remains both the example and the standard. This creates a danger of circular reasoning. Scientists define habitability partly through conditions known to support terrestrial life. They then search for planets matching Earth and expect biology to follow. But Earth's conditions may be the result of life as much as the cause. Organisms changed the atmosphere. They influenced weathering, soils, ocean chemistry, and the carbon cycle. A lifeless planet, beginning with similar ingredients, may not remain Earth-like. Without biology, oxygen would not accumulate in the same way. Soils would lack organic structure. Chemical cycles would proceed differently. Cloud-forming particles might differ. The climate itself could slowly diverge. Earth may be stable partly because it is alive. This creates a feedback. Life needs suitable conditions to begin. Once established, life may help maintain or reshape those conditions. A sterile world does not receive that contribution. It may drift toward a climate less favorable for biology before biology ever appears. The first organisms may therefore need to arise within a limited interval, then quickly become integrated into planetary cycles. If they appear too late, the environment may change beyond recovery. This possibility adds timing to chemistry. A planet may be habitable in principle. Its window may close before life begins. The same process could occur on worlds throughout the galaxy. Oceans form, rain begins, minerals react, organic molecules accumulate. For millions of years, the planet waits near the threshold. Then its star brightens. Its atmosphere changes. Its water retreats into ice or space. The opportunity passes without leaving a biological trace. From a later distance, the world appears simply barren. No observer can see how close its chemistry once came. The universe may contain many such near beginnings. This possibility gives empty worlds scientific meaning. Mars may be one. Venus may be another. Ocean moons may turn out to be others. Every silent environment tells science that some ingredients can assemble without completing the transition. The greater the number of silent but suitable worlds, the more exceptional Earth becomes. Yet there is another possibility. The apparent silence may disappear as instruments improve. A Martian sample may reveal ancient biological isotope patterns. An Enceladus plume mission may detect repeating molecular structures. A distant atmosphere may show several gases that no non-living model can maintain. The current emptiness could reflect the weakness of present observation. Humanity may be standing at the edge of the first discoveries. The evidence is therefore balanced between two interpretations. No second life has been confirmed because life is rare, or no second life has been confirmed because the search has barely reached the places where it hides. The next missions will test both. They will not search only for organisms. They will measure how far non-living chemistry can travel toward biology. This is essential because the border may be gradual. A world may produce amino acids, membranes, and self-organizing molecules without producing evolution. Another may contain limited replication without stable metabolism. Nature may build systems that resemble portions of life while remaining outside the full biological state. Recognizing the boundary requires understanding both sides. A truly sterile world can therefore become as important as an inhabited one. It shows what chemistry does when biology never takes control. Mars, Venus, Titan, Europa, and Enceladus each represent a different experiment. A cold desert with ancient lakes, a greenhouse planet with a dense atmosphere, a frozen moon with carbon-rich weather, a hidden ocean beneath irradiated ice, a small moon releasing its internal sea into space. Earth is another experiment, a wet rocky planet where life became global and eventually aware. Science currently knows the outcome of only one. The others remain incomplete. If they all remain biologically silent, the solar system will contain many habitats and one biosphere. That would be a powerful arrangement. It would suggest that proximity, shared material, and repeated opportunity are not enough to make life common. If even one contains an independent organism, the interpretation changes completely. Life will have appeared twice within one small planetary system. The galaxy's countless oceans and rocky planets will become more promising. This is why the argument for solitude remains unfinished. Its strongest evidence has not yet been collected. The nearby worlds must be examined more deeply. Their oceans must be sampled. Their ancient sediments must be returned. Their chemistry must be understood well enough that an absence of life can be distinguished from an inability to detect it. Until then, silence remains suggestive rather than decisive. The planets do not answer, but humanity has not yet asked them with every instrument required. For now, the solar system contains one world covered by life and several worlds covered by possibility. The difference between them may be immense. It may also be waiting inside one undiscovered grain of ice or stone. If the possibilities remain empty, Earth's uniqueness will grow. If one becomes alive under examination, solitude will end. The coming evidence rests quietly nearby, beneath dust, clouds, and frozen seas. Proving that life exists elsewhere may require only one discovery. Proving that life exists nowhere else is far more difficult. One confirmed organism beneath Martian soil would end the argument for complete cosmic solitude. One artificial transmission from another star would show that intelligence developed independently beyond Earth. But a silent telescope cannot observe every world. A spacecraft cannot enter every hidden ocean. A laboratory cannot examine every ancient rock. Even the observable universe contains regions so distant that their present condition cannot be known. The idea of absolute proof must therefore be approached carefully. Science may never demonstrate that Earth is the only inhabited world across all space and time. It can only examine increasingly large regions, test increasingly promising environments, and determine how often the expected signs remain absent. The evidence for solitude would grow gradually. It would not arrive as one empty sample. It would emerge from many carefully chosen worlds, each capable of supporting life, yet each revealing only non-living chemistry. A dry planet provides little information about biology. A temperate planet with stable oceans provides much more. If a world never possessed suitable conditions, its silence is unsurprising. But if water, energy, carbon, and environmental stability remain together for billions of years, the absence of biology begins testing how easily life starts. The most valuable empty planet would therefore resemble Earth closely. It would orbit a stable star. Its atmosphere would regulate temperature. Liquid water would move between oceans, clouds, and rain. Continents or shallow regions would allow water to interact with minerals. The world would possess time, yet its atmosphere would show no biological disequilibrium. No seasonal exchange of gases would suggest growth and decay. No surface pigment would indicate organisms capturing light. Its oceans would contain chemistry, but no heredity. Finding one such world would not prove Earth unique. Finding many would begin to reveal a pattern. This is one reason future observatories matter so deeply. A developing space observatory intended to directly image potentially Earth-like planets around nearby stars would examine their atmospheres through spectroscopy. Its central scientific purpose would include searching for atmospheric biosignatures, while also characterizing the worlds that do not show them. A telescope capable of separating a small planet from the glare of its star would do more than search for oxygen. It would begin building a comparative science of rocky worlds. Some planets may possess clouds but no oceans. Some may contain water vapor above surfaces that are too warm for open seas. Some may have lost their atmospheres. Others may carry dense air that hides everything below. A small number may resemble Earth in several important ways. The inhabited and uninhabited worlds could then be studied together. Suppose several temperate planets possess water but show no methane, oxygen, or other strong disequilibrium. That outcome would suggest that suitable climates do not always become biospheres. Suppose nearly every old wet planet reveals biological chemistry. Life would begin to appear common. Suppose the results are mixed. The differences might show which planetary conditions matter most. Perhaps life appears only where oceans interact with exposed rock. Perhaps it requires a particular range of atmospheric pressure. Perhaps it begins easily but becomes globally detectable only after billions of years. The silence of a planet becomes meaningful only after the planet itself is understood. A missing biosignature could mean there is no life. It could also mean that organisms live underground, beneath ice, or in quantities too small to transform the atmosphere. Earth itself carried life for a long period before producing the oxygen-rich sky visible today. A telescope must therefore separate biological absence from biological invisibility. This is why one gas will rarely be enough. Oxygen may result from life, but under some conditions light can produce it without organisms. Methane may come from microbes, but geological reactions can also release it. Water reveals a potential habitat, not an inhabitant. A persuasive interpretation must consider the entire atmospheric system, the host star, the planet's temperature, and plausible non-living chemistry. The search for solitude must be even more demanding. Before calling a world lifeless, researchers must show that their instruments could have detected the type of life being considered. A microphone cannot demonstrate that a room contains no light. An atmospheric telescope cannot exclude microbes sealed beneath kilometers of ice. Every instrument observes only particular forms of evidence. A planet may be biologically active while remaining quiet within the measured wavelengths. This limitation means that the word lifeless must remain local and precise. A mission may conclude that no biological molecules were detected above a certain concentration. A telescope may show that no oxygen-rich biosphere exists in the observed atmosphere. A radio survey may rule out continuous transmitters above a particular power across certain frequencies. Each statement narrows the possibilities. None describes the entire world completely. Over time, many narrow statements can overlap. Atmospheric measurements may show no global biosphere. Surface imaging may reveal no seasonal pigments. Radio observations may find no technology. Thermal measurements may reveal no unusual energy use. The planet could still contain hidden organisms, but each additional silence would make a large and active civilization less likely. Nearby worlds offer a different opportunity. Instead of studying them only through light, spacecraft can measure their soil, ice, gases, and particles directly. Europa is one of the most important examples. a mission designed to determine whether Jupiter's icy moon contains environments suitable for life, will investigate the ice shell, hidden ocean, composition, and geological activity through repeated close flybys, rather than claiming to detect organisms directly. This distinction is essential. Before interpreting silence, science must know whether Europa truly offers the conditions assumed. The ocean may contain water and rock interaction. It may possess useful chemical energy. Material may move between the surface and interior, or the ocean may be chemically limited in ways current models do not anticipate. If Europa proves only weakly habitable, failure to find life would reveal little about biology's rarity. If it proves rich, stable, and chemically active, future non-detections would carry greater meaning. The same reasoning applies to Enceladus. Material released from its internal ocean contains water, salts, organic compounds, and signs of water-rock interaction. A future mission designed specifically for life detection could search the plume with instruments able to identify complex molecular organization. If repeated samples reveal only ordinary chemistry, Enceladus would become a quiet test of whether an ocean with useful ingredients naturally becomes alive. Mars provides a geological test. Its ancient rivers and lakes no longer exist openly at the surface, but their sediments remain. A returned sample could be examined through several independent techniques. Researchers could search for cellular shapes, organized carbon chemistry, isotope preferences, and minerals altered in patterns resembling metabolism. If the best preserved sediments from several ancient environments reveal no biological history, Mars would become evidence that a once habitable rocky planet can remain sterile. But even then, the conclusion would stay limited. Perhaps the wrong environments were sampled. Perhaps Martian life existed underground. Perhaps its chemistry left traces that terrestrial instruments were not designed to recognize. The search for absence is therefore slower than the search for presence. A living cell announces itself through organization. An empty sample may only mean that the cell was somewhere else. The strongest argument would come from repetition across different worlds. Mars tests ancient lakes and rocky surfaces. Europa and Enceladus test oceans protected beneath ice. Titan tests complex organic chemistry under very different conditions. Exoplanets test atmospheric biospheres across many stellar environments. Technosignature surveys test whether intelligence has transformed energy into recognizable patterns. Each search examines a different stage. If all of them remain silent as their sensitivity improves, the possible path toward life becomes narrower. Perhaps water is common but origin is rare. Perhaps microbes arise but remain hidden. Perhaps complex organisms almost never develop. Perhaps intelligence appears without technology. Perhaps civilizations are too brief to overlap. Silence at different levels would help identify where the narrowing occurs. A galaxy containing microbial life but no technology would produce atmospheric biosignatures without artificial signals. A galaxy containing barren habitable planets would produce neither. A galaxy containing quiet civilizations might reveal chemical or thermal traces while remaining silent in radio. The pattern of absence matters as much as absence itself. Technosignature research therefore extends far beyond listening for a message. Scientific discussion of technosignatures includes radio signals, optical pulses, atmospheric industrial compounds, unusual heat, and structures that alter a planetary system's light. Researchers are increasingly considering many ways technology might become visible without deliberate communication. If surveys eventually examine millions of nearby systems across broad frequencies and long periods, they can constrain the number of loud civilizations. If infrared studies reveal no systems using large fractions of stellar energy, they can constrain expansive engineering. If atmospheric surveys find no industrial chemistry on nearby Earth-like planets, they can limit one form of planetary technology. These constraints will never exclude every possible civilization. A society may use little energy. It may communicate through narrow beams. It may live beneath a surface. Its technology may create no waste pattern distinguishable from nature. It may have disappeared before its light reached Earth. But increasingly complete searches can eliminate the most visible possibilities first. The galaxy may slowly be shown not to contain enormous numbers of loud, long-lived, energy-intensive civilizations. That conclusion would still leave room for quiet ones. Cosmic solitude may therefore become a matter of degree. Humanity might not be the only intelligence that ever existed. It could still be the only detectable intelligence within thousands of light years. It might share the galaxy with organisms but no civilization. It might share the universe with civilizations separated by billions of years. Absolute aloneness and practical aloneness are different ideas. Science may be able to test the second much more strongly than the first. Practical solitude asks whether any living or technological world lies close enough in space and time to influence humanity. If every nearby habitable planet is sterile, and every sensitive search remains silent, then humanity may be effectively alone even if distant life exists beyond reach. The universe's expansion creates a further limit. Light takes time to travel. Every telescope sees distant objects as they were in the past. A galaxy 1 billion light-years away is observed as it existed 1 billion years ago. Its present state remains inaccessible until newer light arrives. Some regions are so distant that meaningful exchange will never occur within any human timescale. A civilization there could exist today without becoming part of humanity's observable present. The question of being alone can therefore never be separated from the boundaries of observation. Humanity may be alone within the solar system, alone within the nearby stellar neighborhood, alone within the Milky Way at this moment. These claims could eventually receive evidence of different strengths. The claim that no life exists anywhere in the entire universe may remain beyond complete testing. The observable universe contains too much space, too many hidden environments, and too much time. This does not make the question meaningless. Science often works with incomplete access. No researcher examines every atom in an ocean before describing its chemistry. Representative samples reveal patterns. Astronomy can do the same. If hundreds of carefully selected, old, wet planets show no biosignatures, the estimated frequency of detectable life will decline. If thousands remain silent, it will decline further. The conclusion would be statistical rather than absolute. Earth may appear not merely uncommon, but extraordinarily unusual within the observed sample. Probability changes through evidence. At the beginning, scientists may consider a wide range of possibilities. Life could appear on nearly every suitable world. It could appear on 1 in 100, 1 in a million, or almost never. Each new observation shifts confidence. An inhabited planet would raise estimates sharply. A well-characterized empty planet would lower them slightly. Many empty planets would lower them more strongly. This gradual update is quieter than a single discovery. It may also be the way evidence for solitude actually develops. There may never be a morning when humanity announces that the universe has been proved empty. Instead, decades of observation may reveal that nearby worlds lack atmospheric biology. Solar system missions may find rich chemistry without organisms. Techno-signature surveys may continue removing broad categories of detectable technology. The expected number of other civilizations may become smaller with each generation. Eventually, solitude may become the simplest explanation for the regions science can observe well. Even then, scientists would remain open to one exception. A single signal could overturn the conclusion. This is not a weakness, it is the nature of a universal claim. The statement that all swans are white can survive countless observations and fall before one black swan. The statement that Earth is the only living world can survive countless empty planets and fall before one cell. The evidence for being alone must therefore remain permanently revisable. Science does not demand unchanging certainty. It demands conclusions proportional to the available observations. A future generation may say that no evidence of life has appeared among hundreds of potentially habitable worlds. Another may examine thousands. At some point, the rarity itself becomes a discovery. Earth would no longer be considered one ordinary member of an unseen population. It would become an outlier. Its oxygen-rich atmosphere, biological seasons, surface pigments, and technological emissions would stand apart from every nearby planet. The sky would contain many Earth-sized worlds. Only Earth would behave as though it were alive. Such a result would transform the study of origins. Researchers would search more deeply for the rare event that occurred here. Perhaps an unusual sequence of wet and dry cycles assembled the first replicator. Perhaps the moon, tides, geology, and early atmosphere created a narrow chemical environment. Perhaps several unlikely transitions followed one another. The question would shift from why life has not been found to why Earth succeeded. Every detail of the planet's early history would become more significant. Ancient minerals would be examined for evidence of the first chemistry. Genomes would be used to reconstruct the earliest cellular systems. Laboratories would attempt to discover which step is least likely to occur without biological assistance. If life proves rare, Earth becomes a natural archive of a nearly unique process. The search would not end. It would move inward, as well as outward. Humanity would study itself as evidence. Every cell would carry the outcome of the event missing from other worlds. The universality of terrestrial biochemistry would become even more remarkable. One molecular code would have spread from an ancient origin into forests, oceans, deserts, and mines. The rarity of life would also change the meaning of planetary protection. Contaminating Mars or an icy moon would not merely confuse an experiment. It could place biology into an environment that remained sterile for billions of years. A living Earth organism might erase the natural boundary researchers hope to understand. Protecting other worlds would preserve their silence as scientific information. The absence of life can be valuable. It reveals what planets become when chemistry evolves without biology. It shows how atmospheres, oceans, and rocks behave when no organism redirects them. A sterile ocean world is not a failed world. It is a record of a different natural history. The universe does not become less beautiful if humanity is alone. Its beauty becomes impersonal. Nebulae form without being seen. Snow falls on distant nitrogen plains. Waves move beneath alien clouds. Sunlight reaches shorelines where no eye notices its reflection. The absence of observers does not diminish these events. It makes awareness itself unusual. Earth would be the place where the universe's silent processes produce something capable of noticing them. This idea may feel enormous. It can also be held quietly. A person does not need to carry the entire universe. The possibility of solitude is not proof of a cosmic purpose or a special destiny. Science does not reveal intention within the evidence. It reveals rarity, if rarity is what the observations eventually support. Humanity would still be one young species on one small world. The significance would come not from size or power, but from the presence of experience. Here, matter feels warmth. It remembers. It imagines distant places. It turns starlight into understanding. If no other world does this, then every living system on Earth becomes part of the only known continuation of awareness. A forest is no longer merely one forest among countless inhabited planets. It is part of the universe's only known biosphere. A language is not one of millions spoken among the stars. It is part of the only known place where the cosmos describes itself. This interpretation must not be accepted before the evidence arrives. The present position remains that the search has only begun, and that no evidence of life beyond Earth has yet been confirmed. The abundance of planets provides many opportunities, but their biological status remains unknown. The coming searches can strengthen either conclusion. Europa may reveal a habitable ocean. A later mission may find that it is inhabited. A nearby rocky exoplanet may display oxygen and methane in a pattern difficult to explain without biology. A repeating artificial signal may rise from radio noise. Any one of these would end the strongest version of cosmic solitude, or each new world may remain quiet. Every plume may contain chemistry without cells. Every atmosphere may settle into non-living equilibrium. Every radio candidate may return to satellites, instruments, or natural stars. The evidence will accumulate in one direction or the other. For now, the claim that humanity is alone cannot become proof. It can become a hypothesis tested more rigorously with every mission. It predicts that promising environments will remain biologically empty. It predicts that atmospheres will lack convincing global biosignatures. It predicts that increasingly broad technosignature surveys will continue hearing nature rather than engineering. These predictions are testable. That makes solitude a scientific possibility rather than only a philosophical mood. The search is still young. The instruments are only beginning to reach the worlds that matter most. Future telescopes will separate faint planets from their stars. Spacecraft will examine ocean moons. Laboratories will study Martian material with increasing precision. Algorithms will listen across larger regions of the radio sky. Perhaps all of them will remain quiet. If they do, the silence will not mean what it means today. Today's silence mostly reflects limited observation. Tomorrow's silence may describe a real pattern. One habitable planet without life is an interesting world. 100 would become evidence. 1,000 could transform humanity's understanding of biology. The case for solitude would not rest on the darkness between stars. It would rest on worlds containing everything life appears to need, while life itself remains absent. Earth would then stand among them like one illuminated window across an immeasurable night. Not proof of a universe completely empty, but strong evidence that whatever happened here does not happen often. And perhaps within the region humanity can ever reach or know, it happened only once. The argument that humanity may be alone does not rest upon one decisive observation. It rests upon a pattern of absence, one known living world, one known technological civilization, one biological history that crossed every threshold from chemistry to awareness. Around it lies a universe filled with planets, water, minerals, organic molecules, energy and time. The ingredients are abundant. The confirmed outcome remains singular. This pattern is not proof in the strictest sense. Science cannot examine every planet in every galaxy. It cannot search every ocean beneath every layer of ice. It cannot listen across all frequencies during every moment of cosmic history. A universal absence is extraordinarily difficult to establish. But evidence does not need to become absolute before it becomes meaningful. A person entering a quiet forest cannot conclude immediately that no animals live there. The forest is too large, and the search has barely begun. But after months of observation, after cameras are placed near rivers, tracks are studied, calls are recorded, and every habitat remains empty, the silence begins to change. It is no longer only a lack of information. It becomes a pattern requiring explanation. Humanity has not yet searched the cosmic forest so thoroughly. The present silence remains shaped strongly by the limits of observation. Yet every mission adds another camera. Every telescope opens another clearing. Every laboratory examines another trace. The central question is whether the silence will remain as the search becomes deeper. Perhaps Mars will preserve only chemistry. Perhaps the oceans of Europa and Enceladus will contain water, salts, heat and carbon without containing a single evolving cell. Perhaps distant rocky planets will reveal clouds and oceans while their atmospheres remain in quiet equilibrium. Perhaps radio telescopes will continue hearing stars, plasma, satellites and human machines, but nothing built by another intelligence. If all of these searches remain silent, then solitude will become more than a possibility. It will become the simplest explanation for the region humanity can examine. The strongest version of that explanation begins with the origin of life. Matter follows universal laws. The same carbon atoms exist throughout the galaxy. Water molecules behave according to the same chemistry around distant stars. Energy flows from warmer regions toward cooler ones. Molecules collide, combine and separate everywhere. Yet life does something unusual with these ordinary processes. It maintains organization. A living cell contains molecules that would eventually disperse or react differently without continual activity. The cell gathers energy and uses it to preserve a particular arrangement. It repairs damage. It copies information. It creates descendants carrying a history. This history is not stored in stone or atmosphere alone. It is stored within chemistry that reproduces. Once reproduction with variation begins, natural selection can preserve useful changes. Complexity can accumulate rather than disappearing after each reaction. This may be the most important boundary in the known universe. On one side lies chemistry. Molecules form and break apart. Patterns appear temporarily. Energy moves through matter. On the other side lies evolution. Successful patterns remain. They become ancestors. The universe has crossed this boundary at least once. Every living thing on Earth descends from that ancient transition. But the event itself remains hidden. No clear fossil preserves the first evolving system. No laboratory has recreated the full natural journey from simple planetary chemistry to an autonomous lineage. Researchers have produced many of the parts. Molecules can organize themselves. Membrane-like compartments can form naturally. RNA can store information and perform chemical work. Chemical systems can reproduce portions of themselves. But the complete beginning remains unknown. Perhaps the missing pathway is simple and common. Perhaps early planetary environments perform it readily once the correct conditions appear. Or perhaps several unlikely processes must meet within one narrow interval. A suitable molecule must form. A useful boundary must enclose it. Energy must remain available. Copying must become accurate enough. The system must survive long enough for selection to begin. If any one of these steps usually fails, most habitable planets may remain lifeless forever. They may contain all the ingredients without ever producing an ancestor. This would make Earth unusual at the smallest possible scale. Its rarity would not begin with continents, animals, or intelligence. It would begin with one microscopic system in an ancient environment, a system that found a way to preserve itself. From that quiet beginning, every later form followed. The next possible barrier lies within the history of cells. Simple life dominated Earth for billions of years. Microbes transformed oceans and atmosphere, but complex cells appeared much later. The eukaryotic cell emerged through an ancient partnership between different organisms. One became the host. Another became the ancestor of the mitochondrion. Together they formed a new kind of biological system. This partnership supports nearly every large and complex organism alive today. Plants, animals, fungi, and many microscopic forms all inherit its consequences. No confirmed second origin of the eukaryotic cell exists. If that partnership happened only once, then inhabited planets may commonly remain microbial. Their oceans could be filled with living chemistry. Their rocks could contain vast underground biospheres. Yet no forest would grow, no animal would move through the water, no nervous system would begin processing the world. The planet would be alive, but it would remain silent to a search for intelligence. Complex multicellular life adds another narrowing. Cells must cooperate rather than compete only for themselves. They must specialize. Some must carry oxygen, some must sense light, some must contract, some must reproduce. Many must give up independent reproduction entirely and become parts of a larger body. The organism must coordinate growth, development, repair, and communication. This is not impossible. Earth crossed the transition more than once in different forms. But complex multicellularity is still far less universal than microbial life. Most terrestrial lineages never became animals, plants, or large organized bodies. They remained successful without doing so. Evolution does not reward complexity for its own sake. A bacterium reproducing efficiently within a stable environment does not need to become a whale. A microbial mat covering an ocean floor does not need eyes. A floating cell capturing sunlight does not need a brain. Complexity appears only when it offers immediate advantages and when the environment can support its costs. Large bodies require energy. Nervous systems require even more. Brains are especially expensive biological structures. They consume resources continuously and often require long development, learning, social support, and protection. Flexible intelligence may therefore be useful only within particular ecological histories. Even intelligence does not guarantee technology. Earth contains animals capable of problem-solving, planning, memory, cooperation, and communication. Yet only one species built radio telescopes. Technology required an unusual overlap. A body capable of manipulating objects precisely. A social system capable of preserving knowledge, language rich enough to describe absent objects and future plans. A long childhood for learning, access to fire, or another concentrated source of heat. Materials that could be shaped into tools. Populations large enough to preserve specialized skills. Cultural systems that allowed each generation to begin where the previous one ended. None of these conditions alone produces civilization. Together they created cumulative technology. A discovery was no longer lost when its inventor died. Knowledge became a structure larger than any individual mind. Stone tools became metal tools. Observation became measurement. Measurement became science. Light became communication. A species that evolved underwater might possess great intelligence without controlling fire. A solitary species might solve complicated problems without building cumulative culture. A species without precise limbs might understand its environment without reshaping it mechanically. The galaxy may contain minds that never become visible across interstellar space. They may experience memory, curiosity, attachment, and awareness. They may never produce a radio signal. From Earth, their worlds would remain quiet. The final narrowing is not intelligence, it is detectability. A technological civilization can exist without broadcasting continuously. Earth itself was technologically capable before its strongest signals began spreading into space. Modern communication is also becoming more focused and efficient. Much information travels through cables or narrow beams rather than radiating broadly in every direction. An advanced society may be quieter than a young one. It may use less energy wastefully. It may communicate through channels that human instruments do not recognize. It may direct transmissions only towards selected targets. Its visible period could last for centuries while its biological history lasts for millions of years. The detectable stage may therefore occupy only a thin slice of time. Two civilizations can arise within the same galaxy and never overlap. One may disappear before the other develops technology. One may transmit while the other remains microbial. Their signals may cross empty space long before receivers are built. A message may pass through the solar system during the age of the dinosaurs, continue outward, and leave no trace for humanity to recover. The galaxy can contain many histories while appearing silent at one moment. This means humanity may not be the first intelligence. It may still be alone now. Temporal solitude is different from absolute solitude, but the experience is similar. There is no conversation, no answer returns, no other mind lies within reach. The vast age of the universe allows civilizations to appear far apart in time. It also allows many planetary opportunities to end before awareness develops. Stars change, oceans disappear, atmospheres escape, orbits become unstable, impacts reshape surfaces. Habitability is not a permanent gift. It is a period within a planet's history. Earth remained suitable long enough for every major transition to occur. This may be one of its rarest qualities. The planet was never perfectly calm. It froze, it warmed, continents moved, volcanoes altered the sky, asteroids struck, species disappeared, but some environments remained alive through every known crisis. The biosphere always preserved a refuge. After each disruption, surviving organisms expanded into the changed world. Complexity was interrupted but not erased entirely. A more unstable planet might repeatedly return to simple life. A more violent impact history could remove surface ecosystems before intelligence appears. A smaller planet might lose its atmosphere. A larger ocean world might isolate liquid water from useful minerals. A brighter or more active star might remove water early. A planet can fail to develop intelligence without becoming completely sterile. It only needs to interrupt the sequence once. This makes the possible rarity of technological life easier to imagine. No single miracle is required. Many ordinary filters can multiply. Perhaps 1 in 10 temperate planets keeps an atmosphere for billions of years. Perhaps 1 in 100 of those begins life. Perhaps 1 in 1,000 inhabited worlds develops complex cells. Perhaps 1 in 100 complex biospheres develops flexible intelligence. Perhaps 1 in 1,000 intelligent lineages builds detectable technology. The exact numbers are unknown, but multiplying small fractions can turn billions of planets into very few civilizations. If the fractions are smaller still, the final number may become 1. The argument remains mathematical only until other worlds are studied. The coming observations will begin replacing some uncertainty with evidence. Nearby planets will be examined for atmospheres. Ocean moons will be studied for chemistry and internal energy. Mars samples may preserve ancient environmental records. Radio and optical surveys will listen across broader regions. The results can move in either direction. A single independent organism will reveal that life is not unique to Earth. A single artificial signal will reveal that intelligence has crossed the technological threshold elsewhere. But continued silence will also carry information. Suppose future telescopes examine dozens of old rocky planets within temperate orbits. They find water on several. They find stable atmospheres. They find clouds and climates that could support liquid oceans. But none shows oxygen maintained beside methane. None shows seasonal biological cycles. None shows surface pigments that change with growth. The worlds resemble stages prepared for life. The stages remain empty. Such a result would suggest that habitability and habitation are not closely linked. Suppose missions reach the material inside Enceladus's plume with instruments designed for biology. They detect complex carbon compounds. They detect salts, phosphorus, and useful chemical gradients. But no repeating molecular system appears. No membrane-like structure remains consistent across samples. No isotope pattern points toward metabolism. The ocean contains possibility without inheritance. Suppose Europa reveals the same. A long-lived sea touches rock beneath the ice. Energy moves through it, yet no cell has ever occupied the water. 2 hidden oceans would then stand beside Earth's living ocean as silent comparisons. Suppose carefully selected Martian rocks return to Earth. They preserve ancient lake sediments in extraordinary detail. They contain carbon and minerals shaped by water. Yet no pattern survives that biology explains better than geology. Mars would become a nearby world where conditions approached habitability without becoming a biosphere. None of these outcomes alone would prove universal solitude. Together, they could reveal that Earth's transition was unusual, even within one planetary system. The same logic applies to intelligence. Radio surveys may eventually observe millions of stars across broad frequency ranges and long periods. Infrared studies may rule out large-scale energy use around nearby systems. Atmospheric surveys may find no industrial compounds. Direct imaging may show no artificial illumination or orbital structures. Each result would narrow a different possibility. A civilization could still remain hidden, but the space available for loud, expansive, long-lived technology would shrink. The Milky Way would begin to look not merely quiet, but naturally untouched. Its stars would shine without engineering. Its planets would move without artificial structures. Its radio emission would arise from plasma and magnetic fields. Its infrared warmth would come from dust. One small world would remain the only known place where matter deliberately rearranges its surroundings. This would make humanity significant in a way unrelated to physical size. Earth is not near the center of the galaxy. The sun is not the brightest star. Human beings occupy a thin layer on the surface of a small planet. Nothing about location suggests central importance. The significance would come from rarity. If life exists only here, then Earth contains the only known place where the universe experiences itself. Here, matter does more than move. It feels, it remembers, it forms relationships, it creates meaning within minds. A stone reflects sunlight without knowing. An ocean moves without awareness. A star releases energy without witnessing its own brightness. On Earth, some arrangements of matter can see the light, name the ocean, and understand the star. This does not prove that the universe intended awareness. Science does not detect purpose within the evidence. The rarity would still carry responsibility. Every known organism belongs to the only confirmed biosphere. Every species represents an irreplaceable branch of the only known tree of life. An extinction would not merely remove one form among countless worlds. It would narrow the diversity of the only living world humanity can verify. Forests, reefs, insects, birds, and microorganisms would become parts of a cosmic archive. They would preserve billions of years of successful evolution. Human civilization would carry an additional duty. It would become the only known form of life capable of understanding what could be lost. If intelligence is unique, then its survival affects more than one species. It affects whether the known universe continues to contain scientific knowledge, art, memory, and deliberate care. This idea does not require humanity to view itself as perfect. A rare phenomenon can remain fragile, young, and incomplete. Human civilization has existed for only a brief interval. Its knowledge is still developing. Its societies struggle with conflict, inequality, and short-term decisions. Rarity would not make humanity wise automatically. It would make wisdom more necessary. A silent universe would place no external guardian nearby. No older civilization would be expected to solve human problems. No distant intelligence would preserve Earth's culture after extinction. The continuation of awareness would depend upon the choices made here. This possibility may feel heavy when held directly. The calmest way to understand it is through continuity. Life has survived on Earth for billions of years without knowing whether it was alone. Microbes endured beneath ancient oceans. Plants slowly transformed continents. Animals moved through ecosystems under stars that offered no answer. The biosphere continued because each generation passed something forward. Cells copied information. Parents protected young. Communities preserved knowledge. The same pattern can continue. No certainty about extraterrestrial life is required for Earth to be valued. If another biosphere is discovered, life becomes a shared cosmic phenomenon. If none is found, Earth becomes more precious. Both outcomes deepen the meaning of the search. The possibility of being alone also changes the purpose of exploration. Sending spacecraft outward is not only a search for company, it is a way of carrying life's awareness into places that have never possessed it. A probe photographing an empty world becomes the means by which that world is finally seen. A telescope studying a distant planet brings its ancient light into understanding. Human exploration connects silent matter with observation. Perhaps no organism lives beneath Europa's ice, yet a spacecraft can still reveal the movement of its ocean. Perhaps Mars was always sterile, yet its valleys preserve a planetary history that minds on Earth can reconstruct. The absence of alien life would not make exploration meaningless. It would make exploration one of the ways awareness spreads without biology needing to originate again. A machine built by living hands can travel where living bodies cannot. It can measure, remember, and send information home. Eventually, life from Earth may establish itself beyond this planet. Habitats may exist on the Moon, Mars, or artificial structures in space. Such expansion would not prove that the universe contains many independent biospheres. It would extend one biosphere beyond its birthplace. Every organism carried outward would remain connected to Earth's ancient beginning. The tree of life would gain new branches in new environments, but its deepest root would still lie on one planet. If humanity is alone, spreading carefully through the solar system could protect life from being confined to a single fragile world. A large impact, environmental collapse, or distant change in the sun would no longer threaten every branch at once. Life would become harder to erase. This future remains uncertain and technically difficult, but the possibility shows that cosmic solitude need not remain static. The universe may begin with one living world and later contain many inhabited places, all descended from it. Earth may not be one oasis among countless oases. It may be a seed. The question then changes. Instead of asking only why no one else is present, humanity may ask what kind of presence it should become. A civilization entering empty environments must decide how to treat them. A lifeless moon contains no ecosystem to harm, but it preserves scientific history. Its ice, rock, and chemistry reveal how worlds form. Contamination could erase evidence that researchers have not yet understood. Expansion, therefore, requires patience. Before carrying Earth life into a potentially habitable environment, science must determine whether an independent biology already exists there. One hidden microbe would matter more than an entire human settlement. It would represent a second origin. Protecting that discovery would preserve information about life's universality that could never be recreated after contamination. The search for solitude, therefore, encourages caution rather than conquest. If other life exists, it should be protected. If it does not, untouched worlds still deserve careful study. The greatest evidence may come from contrast. Earth is loud with biology. Its atmosphere is far from equilibrium. Its surface colors change with seasons. Its organisms fill ocean, soil, air, and deep rock. Technology now adds artificial signals. Seen from far away with sufficiently sensitive instruments, Earth may appear unusual. A future survey might reveal that no nearby planet behaves in the same way. One by one, other rocky worlds could settle into categories: airless, frozen, overheated, ocean-covered but chemically still, temperate but biologically silent. The solar system's living planet would become the exception within a much larger sample. At that point, the phrase "proof we are alone" would still remain scientifically too strong. But the evidence for profound rarity could become difficult to ignore. Humanity might conclude that life is not an expected consequence of every ocean. Complexity is not an expected consequence of every biosphere. Technology is not an expected consequence of every intelligent lineage. Earth's full history may represent an extraordinary sequence rather than an ordinary one. Still, one possibility must always remain open. The next observation can change everything. A signal may repeat from a nearby star. A plume sample may contain a cell. A distant atmosphere may reveal a pattern no non-living model can reproduce. Science must be prepared to release solitude as soon as the evidence demands it. A good hypothesis is not protected from contradiction. It is exposed to testing. The search for alien life is therefore also a search against the idea of being alone. Every telescope is an attempt to disprove it. Every mission to Mars or an ocean moon is a test. Every radio survey asks the quiet galaxy to provide one exception. So far, the exception has not arrived. The stars remain natural. The nearby worlds remain unconfirmed. Earth remains the only known living planet. This may change. It may not. Until it does, the most honest conclusion lies between certainty and wonder. There is no proof that humanity is absolutely alone throughout the universe. There is only the extraordinary fact that life has been found once. Perhaps that single example reflects limited observation. Perhaps it reflects a rare beginning. Perhaps the universe contains hidden organisms but no other minds. Perhaps distant civilizations existed long ago and left no signal crossing Earth today. Or perhaps this planet truly carries the only awareness within an immense and quiet cosmos. For now, the answer can remain open. There is no need to solve it tonight. Let the unanswered stars become soft in the mind. Let distant planets continue along their patient orbits. Some may carry oceans. Some may carry only stone. Some may contain chemistry waiting near a threshold it will never cross. And here, on Earth, life continues breathing beneath the same night. The universe has existed for billions of years without revealing whether awareness appeared elsewhere. It can hold the question a little longer. There is nowhere else that needs to be searched tonight. No signal needs to be found before sleep arrives. The telescopes will continue listening. The spacecraft will continue traveling. The planets will continue turning through the darkness. Let the long chain of Earth's history settle gently in the mind. Ancient oceans, the first cells, the rise of oxygen, complex life, memory, language, and one species looking outward, wondering whether the silence belongs to distance or solitude. Perhaps humanity is alone. Perhaps it is only early. Perhaps life is hidden beneath ice, or scattered across worlds too faint to study. Every possibility can remain among the stars. For now, breathing can become slower. The distant galaxies can drift beyond the edge of thought. The quiet does not need to feel empty. It can simply be quiet. If another intelligence exists, the same darkness may rest above its world. It may also wonder whether anyone else is listening, and if no other intelligence exists, then this moment of awareness remains part of something exceedingly rare. A small living planet, noticing the universe around it. There is nothing more that needs to be carried tonight. Earth will continue turning. Its oceans will move beneath moonlight. Its forests, deserts, cities, and unseen microorganisms will continue their ancient shared journey around the sun. And if sleep has not yet arrived, another quiet journey is waiting on screen. If these calm nights bring a little peace, you are always welcome to return and wander gently through the universe again, one drifting mind at a time. Sleep well, and good night.